Let's Talk Online. Hey, True Believers England team here, and I am with RDV and Evil Black Cat. Now, Eric has decided to take the night off. He's spending time with family. We told him not to, but he didn't listen. No, he's out. He wanted to do the Silver Age Marvel and the Silver Age DC, which was next on the coverage.
And
so we figured, let's chat.
Before Evil Black can make the comment and say that he encouraged, I'm going to say this, because I'm going to steal Evil Black Cat's on there and say, we encourage him to spend time with his family because we don't know how much time he's got left.
You took Evil Black Cat's jokes. Well, he's not. He's all muted up. But
you want to hear me chew on beef jerky?
Not even. I don't want to hear anybody chew anything. I don't even like hearing myself. You know that inner thing that goes on. No, I'm not even into that.
Yeah, same.
But
we don't like hearing you.
I want to talk about. I want to talk about something tonight because I saw an article, and this is one of those things where I was looking for stuff. I saw an article, didn't read it. I just read the headline, and it kind of made me think
me too.
about.
I look at the photos.
That's it. Yeah, yeah. But it made me think something. Now, the article itself here, it was let's see, where'd it go? Not mainstream comics. Of course, when I go looking for it, I cannot find it. Zatanna breaks her house. Mainstream comics must die. Where'd it go? Of course, I don't have it up. But anyway, what it was is
the professionalism here, people.
I know, right? Well, I don't know how it went missing. In all honesty,
it happens to guys. It's working 1 minute, and then when it's time.
I know, right?
But it's okay.
I can't believe I freaking lost it. It was on news. Oh, by the way, with everybody else, does anybody else have a hard time getting onto CBR?
Yeah, personal choice.
Okay, no, but I'm being serious though. I am actually being serious.
I was on the other day. I had no problems. I mean, I'll go on today. I'll go see what it is.
Am I blocked? Did I do something to offend CBR? Like right now, you could jump on CBR.
Hold on, let me check. I got into the forum. Let me look at the CBR. Yeah, I'm on it.
Yeah, if I wanted fake comic book news, I'd just read whatever JDA is spewing.
Oh, holy shit! Okay, that is surprising because normally I cannot get on, and I just clicked on, and it went there. That is something because I was looking for an article, and nope. That is something.
Which article is it?
It was one of the top 10s, but that is something. Is it just the top 10s?
Is it just me, or is he roboting by myself?
That is so weird.
Evil Black Cat. Quit eating. Answer me, damn it. Because I don't know if it's just me. Yeah. Sometimes you robot, and I'm like, is it just me, or other people in the panel see it too? I want to know.
I don't. Yeah, everything sounds good on my end, but yeah, I went over to look up a top 10 because I was looking for content tonight because I knew Eric was done, and I knew I was busy all day, and then I ate and I just needed to sleep, so I wasn't getting the cover thing up anyway. So I was like, oh, well, we could talk about top 10 and go through that and destroy it or something like that. And I went and looked at top 10s, and I couldn't get on to freaking comic book resources because they always have those. Like they're a content farm. They don't give a fuck what they do or what they talk about. So on one hand, they'll do a top 10 Avengers, and then they'll do a worst 10 Avengers, and it's the same list. Because it doesn't matter. They're just a content farm. That's why, there is no more comic book news, but I don't think there's much to talk about that anybody cares about anyway. But I thought, might say again.
There's one from 2023. It says top 10 most historic comic book issues. There's that from top.
Well, this one's interesting. Now, well, let me see. Here's the StreamYard. Okay, so I just popped onto a top 10 list, the most underrated 80s movies of all time.
Holy crap! It's Frag Minion.
There is nothing here. There is nothing here. They want to make Popeye a San Fran type of Sailor Man. FUD? No. Okay, yeah, let's get to what I was actually going to talk about. We really jumped on because we were talking about comic books and the fact, hey, I'm reading comic books.
I would say post me the link. Maybe it's post me that link in the private chat. Maybe it's your ad block. That
could be it. Actually, I do have an article that I did look up, and it is about Popeye. But the angle I was going at it is because they're going to finally. Here you go. Let me share it out. Alrighty. 95 years after his debut, the mystery of how Popeye the Sailor Man lost his eye will be answered in the manga-inspired I Lie Popeye.
We knew that
when you purchased it. Yeah. No. We didn't know this. We knew they were making, but.
No, we knew about his eye. They're going to talk about his eye back when the Free Comic Book Day was coming out.
Yeah, okay, I forgot about that. So I'm doing the same thing twice. Well, okay, I know I didn't hit it at this angle because it made me think. One of the worst things that has been going around about older characters being put into new hands. Let's forget about the fact that this art is totally just not Popeye. It's the fact that we get these new writers coming on to these classic characters and thinking, oh, well, we're going to change this. Well, everything you knew about this character that was loved and beloved for the last 95 years is wrong. Or in this case, answering a mystery that nobody needs or wants the answer to. Have you ever read a Popeye comic and asked yourself, how did he lose the eye? And who is it that gives the person that's writing this book the right to decide what that is?
I don't know.
And it's not just that one. Brian Michael Bendis took on Superman and decided, you know what? The whole Krypton blew up thing, that was wrong. It was destroyed by this new character that I just created. So instantly he puts a character he creates into this incredible iconic moment in comic books. And that's one of the things that's the angle I thought about when I looked up the Popeye, lost an eye thing. He lost an eye, just thought he was always squinting. Yeah, I always kind of was like almost like not quite shut. Like I know pirates would wear the eye patches. And it was really so one eye was used to the dark. So when they would go down, they would actually switch. It wasn't because, losing an eye was just a hazard of the job of pirating. It was so when they went down from upper deck into the lower decks, because they didn't have modern lighting on everything, they would switch the eye patch to the other eye and already have one eye used to the dark. And I was kind of thought it was that it was just a thing he did. So he was always, But then again, in the dark, he never switched the eye. So I don't know why I thought that. So go ahead.
Yeah, I was just say. I mean, even in the movie, I think it didn't say what happened to his eye. All we know, he doesn't have an eye, and even in the movie, squinting.
Well, in the he did squint in the movie. It was a point of humor because. He would, every time somebody brought it up, he goes, what squink, he would do this, what squinky eye, because, everybody, and he would open it and it would only open this much. So I was like, yeah.
Maybe it's the Mandela.
Goes, what squinky eye? And yeah.
Maybe it's the Mandela effect, but I do remember even before this comic book, it had been addressed that he had lost his eye. That's why he was.
Maybe. But here's the thing, and I want to explore the other side of my argument, because it's almost like, okay, well, that's a bad idea, therefore you shouldn't have the right. But some changes have actually been done better. You know, some the people who write the Batman, Paul Dini, right? Tim, what's his name? The people who wrote the Batman animated series.
Bruce Timm did the animation. Paul Dini did the writing.
Okay. Well, they decided that instead of just a crazy scientist, that Mr. Freeze's motivations are going to be to save his wife. And they created a much better Mr. Freeze than had happened for the last 50 years or 40. But point being is, you know, it can be good. These new writers coming in and just altering freaking everything, it can be done well.
It's
look at John Byrne. But then again, John Byrne redid Superman, made him less powerful, took away a lot of his superfluous powers, and made a better Superman.
The difference between changing things back then and changing now is because back then, especially for DC, sales were plummeting. They needed a way to make money. That's why they did it. Now they're just doing it because it's all about indoctrination. It's all about saying, "Oh, you can't do this. This is against our politics." It's these people. It's coming in. You know what this is? This is like the church lady coming in and saying, "Oh, little Billy, you can't watch that. You need to watch only this channel where you have a woman playing an organ, singing Christian hymns. You can't watch that on MacGyver. That's raunchy. Mm-hmm. You can't watch that." It's like, that's what I feel like DC and Marvel has become. You got not saying these are Christians that are coming in and censoring stuff. This is more like the people who are crazy and have been indoctrinated to think certain ways, and now and if you don't agree with them, they label you as a fascist because that's how they cope, because they cannot cope with reality. And like I said, today's nut jobs are changing things. But at this point, does anything really matter if they change it? Because everything you loved ended a long time ago, as far as continuity going. Some would say that Marvel up until 2012 was good. DC until 2000, maybe 15,
11.
No, I don't.
Rebirth. I absolutely believe Rebirth now was an anomaly. It was DC losing their minds and letting good creators create good comics, and it's like they're apologizing for it by making years and years of shitty comics. Even Dark Admiral's mentioning, good grief, Bendis absolutely destroyed Superman. I was picking up all the Soup titles until he came along. Superman was awesome. Batman, whether you like Tom King or not, was always at number one. Anytime a Batman title came out during the Rebirth era, Batman was number one. So whether you liked it or not, Tom King sold in books. Just did.
Well, Batman's still number one.
DC ruled. Go on ahead.
I was going to say, Batman's still number one at DC.
Yeah, but unfortunately,
it's not the same. Yeah. But then again, I read the first couple of issues of Batman, Tom King, and it wasn't for me. So
I didn't like it either. The Gotham Girl thing just did not do it.
It just felt like we can't use Superman. We're not allowed to because he's being somewhere else. So we're going to create new characters that are basically our Superman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just felt weird. It's like when I was reading Hellblazer for Vertigo, they were not allowed to use Lucifer because freaking that boring Sandman title that nobody liked. We had used Lucifer first, so they had Constantine could not talk to the devil. He had to talk to the first of the fallen.
Wait, the Sandman that nobody liked?
Yes.
What Sandman was that?
The one that puts everybody to sleep. All that was missing was a madman in a box.
Man in a box. Wait, what? Are you talking about the Neil Gaiman Sandman?
Neil Gaiman Sandman was horrible.
Okay, yeah, you didn't like it, but you can't say everybody didn't like it.
I know, but I know quite a handful of the shops.
You don't read comics. Have you heard of Neil Gaiman Sandman? Have you read any of it? No. Yeah. See, my daughter is even heard of it in positive or negative ways. Positive ways. She doesn't read comics. People love Neil Gaiman Sandman.
And I'll ask her if she heard anybody but her father saying good things about it.
Everybody says good things about it. Are you kidding me? Cartoons and Comics wants to come in. All right.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody said you're the only one. Look, I reread it. You know, we did the videos for the channel and everything, and I reread it, and we did reviews of the stories. Me and Dalton, and I got to admit that not all of it held up as well as other parts. Like the beginning is awesome, the ending not so much. That being said, yeah, it's still a beloved series. Just because you didn't like it doesn't mean nobody. But I get it; it's not your cup of tea.
Well, here's my thing. Even back then, DC, who was in charge of it, was fucked up because they wouldn't let Lucifer be used by Constantine in a Vertigo book because the Sandman was using Lucifer. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Because Sandman
that was wrong.
And Sandman and Constantine weren't even crossing over at all. Constantine was still up. He was not part of the DC universe. He was still just a guy by himself. There was no mention of capes. So the fact he couldn't even use Lucifer in his own book was some asinine ruling. But,
yeah.
Hey, Frank Manion, get your ass in here. We haven't seen you in a while.
I don't think I think Frank's been once, maybe twice.
I don't know if he's ever on a microphone, but he's rarely in chat.
Yeah, and hello to Frag. Yeah, it's I lost my train of thought, but yeah, we were talking about getting new people, but that's an example of it working. What I was talking about working. You have a new writer in Neil Gaiman. He takes a character that's been well established, the Sandman, completely reworks it. The Sandman he wrote is a completely different character, but he did actually take on Hank Hall, the Sandman from the 1970s, and he did him, but it was in a decent, positive way. Hello to Cartoons and Comics. What's up? What did you want to talk about?
1 second.
Okie dokie. All righty. Fragment's like, I don't talk. I just type and shoot things.
I bet he doesn't type. I bet he does voice to text.
Yeah, but and that's the thing. Should they have the right to change things? And if we say no, does that make it so we also don't get it when they do good things? I mean, there has been rewrites of characters. Characters have been completely had the freaking script flipped on them and made better in some cases.
I would say Tim Drake being gay has worked out pretty well. They sold a lot of books. And that
didn't destroy the character at all.
They basically propped up Damien even further by making Tim just unliked.
Yeah, I know, right? Hey, what do you think of Damien now that we made Tim Drake a completely unlikable character? Yeah,
now when I read Super Sons, it really makes sense why Damien was the Butch.
Well, I think though that Tim Drake is actually the poster child of why they shouldn't. Why modern writers definitely should. Hold on, Cartoons. Why modern writers shouldn't, because it doesn't seem like they're doing things for narrative reasons. And I'm not talking about older writers in modern day. I'm talking about strictly the T. Franklins of the world. They're doing things because, by gosh, their story's going to be told, and they're going to use these characters. Tell it.
You want a positive retcon? Those, I believe it was John's, right? Evil Black Cat. It was John's who basically made it so that Hal and Carol were childhood friends. So
but he did a lot of retcons to Green Lantern lore. But that's not a modern day positive retcon. That is as hard as it is to say it, nearly 20 years ago.
I know, right?
I know, but it's relevant because Jeremy Adams brought it up in his current series.
And
a couple years ago, and no one cared about John's apparently, or they forgot because everybody thought it was a retcon by Adams, and they're upset at Adams.
That's funny. So, what did you want to talk about there, Cartoons and Comics?
Yeah, I think the problem is current day we have what I like to call the lady paper pusher, which is very different than a normal bureaucrat. She's not only a bureaucrat, but she's like an activist bureaucrat. She used bureaucracy for her activism.
What are you talking about?
And yeah, I'm in the editorial I'm working. It's like a nightmare trying to pass by bureaucracy.
Okay.
And every time they use to push an agenda, they want to make queer kid stuff all day in, all day out. And they try to use bureaucracy. Oh, it will be good for your PR, you know?
Are you
And
talking
end up
about
not
comic
selling.
books?
No, children books even. And I can't imagine how it is in DC and Marvel. And these people are like with the activist writers and the activist artists. They have. If you think if they are saying bullshit for me in these weird whisper networks, I cannot imagine how it is in Marvel and DC. It must be a nightmare. Imagine being a normal guy trying to do your job. I'm an editor, but I cannot imagine how a normal dude writer would be ever hired by these people.
Okay.
See, that's interesting.
Yeah, you're talking about that. You're talking about. I guess what you're talking about is the modern day hiring practices we actually saw recently. I don't know if you guys follow. Oh goodness, what's his name? The dude who has the hidden mic. I used to have a memory. I apologize, guys.
Oh, you're talking about the guy started at Veritas?
Yeah, Veritas. And now he has his own show. Say again?
James O'Keefe.
James O'Keefe, yeah, and now he just had a whole bunch of stuff about Disney and how they're saying they're not going to hire white people anymore. They're not hiring straight people anymore. They're pushing the sexual agendas of, let's say, nonconformists. Basically the gay agenda. And unfortunately, it's not. Look, and it's not gay people. It's not saying, oh, we should all be accepting yada yada blah blah blah. It is literally the agenda. It's just putting it out there. It's weird because you actually have people out there saying, yes, we are in fact coming for your kids. And that's the thing that Disney is promoting that has people up in arms. And of course, if you say anything against it, they just think you're against the people. Anyway, go on ahead, RDB.
I wouldn't hire white people either. A lot of them are Karens.
But bring it up here.
I wouldn't
bring it up. Go on ahead, Evil Black Cat.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wouldn't hire white women.
All right. Now, Dark Admiral here is saying, I don't know. I guess you can find examples going either way. The current crop of writers shouldn't be allowed anywhere near. I stopped wanting characters I love to come back. I just don't do it anymore. There's no point to it. It's I said like 4 years, so for 4, 5, 6, 8 years, I've been saying, be careful what you wish for. The big one to me was, when are they going to bring back the Legion of Superheroes? When are they going to bring back the Legion of Superheroes? They're going to bring back the Legion of Superheroes when Brian Michael Bendis can write them. Fuck. It's like, I wanted to see them. I wanted to see the Legion in the rebirth, and instead I got Afterbirth, where Brian Michael Bendis came in and everything. And it was horrible. It was a horrible freaking run. I am a person who even likes the Mark Waid run. I don't think Mark Waid's a bad writer. Bad human being. Yeah, he can't do that. He can write a comic book. But I even like that run. Brian Michael Bendis' run was pure shit. And I was even saying, I can't wait. I wish they would bring back the JSA. And then I stopped asking for it. I'm glad when they brought it back, Jeff Johns had it. But I don't want JSA anywhere near modern day comics unless it's Jeff Johns or Chuck Dixon. Yeah, go on ahead.
You're bringing up when Marani and I work, because over on the Geeky Puppet Show, it's just me and Marani tonight just talking.
You have a channel?
I have one, right? It's crazy. I thought the apocalypse hit and everyone just went together.
I fear that they will ever bring back Azrael or Bane. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Go on ahead. Finish.
No,
what you're
I
talking
was just gonna say that I'm gonna speak for the next 20 minutes without a comma. Screw you guys. So basically, Ronnie and I were talking about should writers, comic creators, be allowed? Would it be better if they all just left social media? That includes the good ones like Jeremy Adams and some of the other ones who are nice, you know. Unfortunately, Bob Lane and Jeremy Adams, if they left, you know, if this meant that people just can't sit there and just bitch about what people say that has nothing to do with the comic books, you can see a lot of YouTube channels just crumble.
Yeah.
I mean, because until social media, until I got a Twitter account, I didn't know what any of these people are saying. And you can say a lot of them came out of the woodwork after the 2016. But even then, like I said, I'm going to buy comic books. If it's not in my book, I have no idea what these people are saying. So if you don't have a social media account, people are not going to be upset at Mark Waid unless somebody comes in and says something. You know what my comic shop says? Get off social media. If it's all it does is piss you off, and then, like I said, that's it. It's social media is a double-edged sword. Now you could argue, say, social media is how I keep a check. Is if I didn't know what social media these people are saying the shit about me. I don't know, man. Like I said, I can separate.
Think there should be. I think there should be. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say there was the other one, Cheryl Lynn, whatever her name is, Cheryl Lynn something. She's the one that's writing the. Was it?
Cheryl Lynn Eaton,
yeah. Also wrote about, you know, she's read some very racist stuff, and she's being played currently by Marvel through the Marvel voices. The one she's just wrapping up is the Black Panther Blood Hunt tie-in.
Yeah, basically she is the diversity hire that comes in, writes black people, leaves, and comes back again.
And honestly, I had no idea she even existed until somebody on YouTube or Twitter pointed her out. Of course she has a Twitter account. Yeah. Now Mark Waid, though, you could say is arguably more famous because he does a lot more stuff. That hurts your company more than anything else. Not versus the diversity hire comes in like an intern and then leaves within 90 days, or not even 90 days, 60 days. But I don't know. Honestly, if we all dropped social media and just went out and bought comic books, I wonder how much comic books would be selling, because Mark Waid does not put what he talks about, Trump and all that shit, into his books. Well, maybe he would, though.
I would say this. You can be a jerk in the social media how much you want, but if you're a good writer, you're a good writer. But the problem is, these people many times are hired specifically because they're jerks in social medias and they're friends with the HR who are activist people, the lady paper pusher.
That might actually be the case, and it could, the Mark Waid effect, or for a while it was the Max Bemis effect, where he was writing some great freaking books, but a total douchebag in every sense of the word. Hello, and thank you to Rhaegar for the $2 super chat saying no. Wait, what? No, we may have lost you here, sir. Thank you.
Maybe he's replying back to me because if we got rid of social media, would it make a difference? I don't know.
There you go. Well, here's the difference. I think it would, in all honesty. Think about what goes on with Gary and the Black Pills. Like I said, he posted pictures from the Agatha thing. They set photos from Agatha all along, and he posted up and he says, "Well, if you thought the Acolyte was bad, you'd have seen shit about this. Now you're disingenuous. Now you are the problem. Once you do that, you're the problem. You're coming out guns blazing that this is going to be bad." It's like when I was when I talked about the Star Wars girl thing. You know, I went to Galaxy's Edge myself. I played along. I had a great time. I saw the Star Wars girl, and she was like, "Well, isn't this all shit?" You know, she didn't use those words exactly. That was her intro almost. And I was like, "Bitch, you're not even in it. You are literally standing on the outside of everything. You haven't even walked into it. Oh, well, look at this. They just have spaceships and everything. It's nothing on it. Oh, shut the fuck up. If you're going in like that, it's going to be shit. So, yeah, I actually do believe that if you go in already with the mindset that things are going to suck, you're going to look at it like it's going to suck. It's the Pollyanna effect. If you look for the bad, you're going to find the bad. If you look for the good, you're going to find the good. But it's when you go into things, try to keep as much of an open mind. Maybe you'll like it. Maybe you won't. We lost 3 viewers, I'm sure, because I just called in Star Wars Girl out.
Rager, you can watch a trailer.
Thank you very much for the title of your stream is a question. The answer is no. Oh, okay. There you go. Well, thank you, Rager.
As far as watching a trailer, making your own judgments, that's what I'm saying you should be. But there's a lot of people who want to go watch the black pill sites because they want to see what they're going to say because they want confirmation bias.
Joel Dog, are you a fan of the Acolyte? Were you like, woo, cannot wait for the Acolyte? All righty, woohoo, can't do it. And when you saw that first episode, and it was fucking garbage.
So
why did you watch? Hold on. Why did you watch the second episode? And after the second episode was fucking garbage. Why did you watch the third one? Now I may do, and I was thinking about doing this because I've got a YouTube channel, and I don't know, maybe you do too, and maybe that's the answer. I got a YouTube channel, and I was thinking of doing a binge watch of The Acolyte. I wanted to remove myself from all the bullshit because if there's good in it, I want to call it out, but. Every thing I saw about the Acolyte was telling me it's going to be shit. Everything I've seen since it's came out, it's going to be shit. So, in spite of the fact that yes, I could get views and all that kind of stuff, I didn't watch it because I'm 53. I've got more years behind me than ahead of me, and why the would I watch the Acolyte? So I'm going to ask you. You say, my God, that final episode of the Acolyte was trash. How was the first 5? Just saying. Like, when was it time to jump off the fucking ship? Maranya is saying, y'all have lost the plot of the title of this live stream, which honestly shouldn't surprise faithful listeners because it happens all the time. Oh, yeah, the start is never where we end up. But basically, we are still talking about the spirit of it because it's not just should modern comics writers change iconic characters. It's the effects. It's why they should and shouldn't. And the fact is that sometimes when they do change, of course, these are writers in the past, but they were modern at the time. Sometimes these changes actually work. Sometimes they don't. So should they really tackle these big issues? And of course, I was using Popeye's Squinty Eye, which is going to get an origin story. I mean, look, what was the Han Solo movie? Gave an origin story to everything except for his stool samples. So I know. Agatha looks promising, says Ethereal. So we don't get to watch trailer and make judgments for ourselves. Who said that? Along with the background information being telegraphed to us by the industry. Never said. First of all, I don't have the power to tell you to watch a movie trailer or not, or to have a feeling on it or not. You're able to do anything you want. But at least you watched the trailer. You didn't see a picture and go, well, this is going to suck worse than the Acolyte. You know. Go on ahead.
I was going to say, you should recall, this channel is called Old Man Rants While Panelists Listen. As far as I said, if you got rid of
just basically saying, come on alone before.
My thing was like, if you went back, remember on the 90s, you listened by word of mouth. You weren't hearing people were virtue signaling because they had no means to get to thousands of people. Unless people are watching Entertainment Tonight, Entertainment Weekly, whatever, like, you're not going to see rants where Brie Larson says this, unless you go out and look for articles. But I mean,
but here's the thing: even if you're successful and you are progressive, these people don't like this. Just look what they did with the Bojo from the X-Men '97, because he didn't want to hire the people they wanted to hire. Basically, they fired the guy and they Yeah, he's still working for Disney, but he's not the head of the X-Men 97 anymore. You're bringing the guy from the Thor Love and Thunder now, which we all know how good this movie was.
Oh, loved it. Loved it. You know what I was thinking? It needs more goat bleeding.
Gotta give Common credit. Okay, and they explain why there's so many freaking liberals with blue hair and all this stuff. There's a lot of weirdos out there. I don't think they're at college indoctrinated, so it's 50-50, I guess. But like I said,
I hope everybody discerns for themselves rather than takes the advice of me or anybody on YouTube.
I'm not saying that people back then voted with their wallet. But there's a lot of people who pirate these things or they don't even watch the movie because they whether just want to go see what their favorite YouTuber like PewDiePie or is going to say about this, and they say oh, it's great, and then they're like, they may disagree with them and they may agree with them, but a lot of these channels are the same freaking people, just with different names, different faces, parroting the same thing, rhetoric sometimes, and that's because they need to make money. I'm not saying all of them do it all the time, but I guarantee they are making up shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how you get clicks.
Yes, Thor Chuck
get views.
Ragnarok also says Dark Gap. That one is that one's I guess considered a hot take. A lot of people like Ragnarok. I thought it was okay. I thought it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Ragnarok. Had a few problems with it. Like, are you seriously telling me you subdued the god of thunder with electricity? Yeah, that was dumb as fuck. But Ragnarok was at least entertaining. Thor: Love and Thunder. I want to see the full movie that Christian Bale was part of because that looked awesome. But everything else, like, what the hell? And like I said, we needed more goats bleating.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's just,
LA bleeding goats dry.
Yes. People voting with their wallets today too has nothing has changed. That's perspective. Rhaegar. Star Wars died in the second to last movie. They never fixed it, so I stopped having investment in Star Wars. Star Wars for me is 3 movies. Now, look. Here's the thing. I'll watch the prequels because those are my kids' films, and I have memories of taking them to the movies and having a great time with them. Watching it, I enjoyed those. But in all honesty, when I say I'm going to watch Star Wars, I'm going to watch Star Wars. And then I'm going to watch Empire. And then I'm going to watch The Return of the Jedi. Because those are the 3 movies. Star Wars, Empire, and Return of the Jedi. And it's fucking Star Wars, not A New Hope, you young bitches.
You know what I would do personally? I would take the Vita approach. I'd make everyone gays. That way they're forced. They actually have to make people straight.
Yeah. Change them, sure, but don't make them homosexuals.
I just want all gay characters to the point where they're like, oh shit, we got. They're like, they got to bite their lip and make someone straight. Like, damn it.
Now here's the thing. Like I said, I have a problem with Tim Drake being changed homosexual. John Kent was not changed to be a homosexual. His sexuality had never been explored because he was 9. Apparently, he had some girlfriends in the Legion, so I guess they decided to turn him from that. But I had no problem. My problem was turning him into a teenager. And if you are going to make him a gay character, having him young and having him and not Tim Drake, but Damien grow up and he's got to deal with feelings. Maybe he actually falls for Damien because they're such good friends. There's so many stories to be told based on a younger John Kent than that they did up.
Super Family was so good. Was my second Superman favorite history, just after All Star Superman, because it was so good, and they ruined it because of Bendis. Fuck Bendis.
I'm very close to not being able to watch Star Wars at all, and it has nothing to do with what so-and-so says. It's because they don't respect their own lore and history.
That's you.
Once again, 3 movies. Just watch those 3 movies. Yeah. Not on Disney Plus, because I do have Disney Plus. I love Disney Plus. I recommend to Disney fans Disney Plus because I don't have it for fucking Star Wars. You know, if MCU has a new movie, okay, yeah, I probably saw it in the theaters. I might watch something. But I have it because, you know what? That's where I could find Great Mouse Detective. That's where I could find The Black Cauldron. That's where I can find freaking The $1 Million Duck or Cat from Outer Space or Apple Dumpling Gang or Herbie or Treasure Planet or any of the hundreds of movies and such that I grew up with. You know, all the freaking Disney movies are there that I grew up with. That's why I have Disney Plus, not because the fucking Star Wars films. People are like, oh, the Star Wars shit is bad. Drop Disney Plus. No, I didn't even get it for Disney Plus. Do you know what was good? And that pissed me off. They pulled, and I think RDV will back me up on this. Jeff Goldblum had a show where he went around, just tried shit and talked about shit. That was one of the most entertaining fucking things on TV. It really was, and they dropped it.
He talked about jeans for 45 minutes, and I did not look at my phone once.
Yeah. You want my opinion about how they can improve Star Wars and X-Men? They should the executives, the very important ones, should not be in charge of it. They should put artists in charge of it, and the executives take care of the money, like Marvel was before in Phase 3. And then the executives enter in. What happened? They ruined everything. Because, you know, oh, we need to take care of these, you know? It's good for the brand. It's good for the PR, guys. Yeah. And it doesn't sell. Even if you paint it gold, it won't sell.
Oh, so here's something. One, can you convince Cartoons and Comics to do readings? I guess they like your voice. See, Hamill is
No, that's not. And you know damn well what he was implying because if the black pill sway people not to watch things, like he wants to know, can you make Cartoon Comics do this? That's his reply, Buttle.
Oh,
that's his little snotty little reply.
Oh, okay. Let's see. I like the prequels too, says Rhaegar. Hamill is a cancel pig. Mark Hamill is one of the I wish the shooter didn't miss people. And look, I always use Sean Penn as the example. I've been watching Sean Penn movies since At Close Range. Back in the mid-80s. Oh, no, actually Bad Boys. I remember, I think that was the first thing I saw him with, and then Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I've been a Sean Penn fan forever. His work. He's always been a douchebag. He's always been a far, far leftist douchebag. Mm-hmm. So it's been an exercise of separating the art from the artist. Sometimes they just go to a point where it's like it's just too far. So I'm going to ask you guys, what is a celebrity comic book writer, comic book artist, or maybe just somebody in this field of the geeks and sci-fi field that has gone too far where you're like, I'm done and I'm going to make it hard on you guys. Mark Waid is off the table. All right. We already know about Mark Waid. Hello to Dalton. So what is a person that is like that to you? Mark Hamill isn't there yet for me. But is there a celebrity, a writer or something that has just gone so far? It's like, I can't watch his movies. I can't read his comic books. Let me see. I would love to hear your answers in the chat. Hello to Dalton. MK is saying, who's dumber, you think, Robert De Niro, Mark Hamill, or Robert De Niro? He's old enough to know better. Robert De Niro is lying to you.
Well, personally...
Are we discussing the reactions to the thing that happened this week?
Not yet, but RDV?
No.
Personally, there's nobody that bothers to get... I don't let people, what they say, bother me.
Mm-hmm.
Or affect me. It's like, they can say that's their freedom of religion. They can say whatever they want. Is it tasteful? It is.
Freedom of speech.
Yeah, that too.
Well, yeah. I mean, Robert De Niro is a douchebag, and he is lying to you. He knows better. He knows Trump's not going to put people into camps and all that kind of stuff. But does that mean Godfather 2 is a bad movie?
I'm at the point where everyone's saying bad things, so the point where I just won't read or watch anything. I'll just be a hermit, right? Because that's the point that America is getting to, and I refuse to do that. That's the way it is. Maybe I don't have the correct principles, whatever. It's just said, or maybe I just don't get triggered by everything I read or see.
Oh, by the way, I do agree with this. I will ask one thing of the panel. Please let people finish their thoughts before jumping in to speak, and also one at a time, please. And I know, yes, I am I have done this many times.
As soon as I showed up, I will try to be quiet.
There you go.
I'll just use the mute button.
Wait, I have moderator powers here.
I know, right?
Wait, can you mute me?
Yeah, I can.
Really?
I can also remove you.
No.
Do it.
Wow. There should be a shield.
There's the beauties of ruin.
Yeah, right. So yes. Let's see. Oh, I said Mark Wade's off the table in like two of the first ones.
Of course.
Fuck you, bald man. I'm gonna say Mark Wade anyway. Spike Lee, Chuck Wendig, Mark Ruffalo could do the trick, man. Seriously, I have never seen someone so stupid think they know so much. Oh, speaking of, hey Dalton. I'm just kidding.
Okay, but I'm sure this answer of mine will not surprise anybody. Neil Gaiman is not the same man who did all those wonderful things for which I credit him so much. He has completely and utterly lost the plot. And for someone so insightful when he's writing fiction or when he's making analogies, you would think he would apply some of the standards that his narrative would indicate to himself, but he applies nothing. It's as though he can, like, it's as though he channels intelligent entities when he's writing, and then as soon as the writing is done, he comes back in and is like, oh gee, what does this thing that I wrote just now mean? I have no idea. Nothing to learn from here. Moving on.
Okay, Evil Black Cat.
He has a ghostwriter.
He has divine inspiration that he never credits and usually ends up killing off any supernatural characters who, quote unquote, help him. But, whatever. We
actually had a conversation about Sandman a little bit earlier, as RDV said. Nobody likes Sandman from the 90s. Once again, I corrected him, but I did mention that you and I did do review of the Sandman, a review, going back talking about all the stories. In the beginning, I would put the first 5, maybe 6 books up against anything.
Yeah.
But the last, I'm sorry, it falls apart.
Yeah, the Wake is awful. The Wake is absolutely awful. It's horrible. And the reason why it's horrible is because that's the moment that Neil Gaiman decided to put his own artistic ego above his actual creativity. And it completely and utterly backfires. It makes no internal sense logically within the logic of the story, and it ruins almost everything that he was doing so great with from the beginning.
Well, let me get the comments, because we do have some answers. Let's see, De Niro and Arnold. Arnold came out and apologized, and he actually spoke out against the anti-Semitism. So I'm willing to forgive him. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head, says Rhaegar. Also, people getting triggered by certain things. I know it's funny to joke about, but certain things are worth getting offended over. You know what I was worried about? I have a sick sense of humor. You guys have no fucking clue. I have never gone full hog on how dirty and sick my mind is with my sense of humor.
He's not kidding, folks.
And here's the thing. Yeah, people offline, they know. James Gunn made jokes it got him canceled. And I'm like, that's not half as bad as I thought.
The trauma jokes.
Yeah, and I was like, holy shit! If these people only knew what Gale has to put up with. So when I saw him getting canceled, I was like, okay, I gotta calm my shit.
My main thought when that happened was a guy who got his start in trauma. Are we that surprised?
Yeah. Samuel L. Jackson got mighty close too with his comments about black conservatives. It amazes me that black people think black people should act in a certain way, and that's the only way they're allowed to think and allowed to act and so forth. And black conservatives, they get it freaking hard from Democrats, white and black. It's something, man. Let's see. Venkman is Castile of the throne of the panel, has more power than Eglantine thinks. Haha. Dalton should get that reference.
I have MK, but what about the Pizza Man?
I did in fact get that reference, and it was well done, sir. Thank you.
Sumner has a big list. Sumner, you just gotta stay away from media. Listen to this. Rosie O'Donnell, Big Sean, I have no idea. Reed Hoffman, have no idea. Kyle Gass,
P. Diddy.
He lost a lot of. I mean, he lost the fucking band. Did you guys hear about this? Kyle Gass said the whole thing about
the next time don't miss comment.
And Jack Black, I am sure it's because of the backlash, not because of what was said. But Jack Black ended Tenacious D's tour. I don't know if he ended the band, but there you go. No, Moby, Madonna, Larry Wilmore. What was saying?
It's just a tour.
Well,
just a tour. Pearl Jam.
One from the comics is Garth Ennis.
Garth Ennis, yeah.
Yeah, he lost the plot long time ago, but he lost the plot.
Garth Ennis has been great. Apparently not reading Kid Fury, are you?
Well, we're talking about comic book creators that lost the plot. Alan Moore, anyone?
Yeah, but we're talking about this is people that you can no longer separate the art from the artist. And Garth Ennis, I can still do that myself, but if you can't, that's you. That's cool. George Lopez, Anthony Bourdain, isn't he dead? Snoop Dogg, Mickey Rourke, Kathy Griffin. Yeah. Oh, there you go. I used to like her comedy specials. Can't stand to look at her now. Mickey Rourke, Kathy Griffin, Robert De Niro, Johnny Depp. Ethereal says, hi, Dalton. Speaking of Mark Ruffalo, I'm about to press play on The Incredible Hulk. Oh, wait.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of Johnny Depp, he's got another 20-year-old that he's dating.
Hey, can I say something? Hey, Mark Buffalo, where are you? Amazon is burning like never before, and you are talking so bad about the ex-president Bolsonaro, who is the conservative president, but now the Labor president is in. You don't speak one word of it. I wonder why. It's because he's progressive?
Huh.
Johnny Depp, I think, has suffered enough from the Amber Heard incident, so I think Johnny is he's neutral at this point. Like, I don't. He suffered enough.
Yeah. MK is saying I'm Mexican American, and even I hate Lopez. Fluffy is a lot better than Lopez. George Lopez is nope. I'm thinking about somebody else. He's always sucked. All right. Let's see. Lopez hasn't been funny since the last season of his show, says Ethereal. Gabriel Iglesias is pretty funny. Yeah, I agree. He is. And by the way, Gabriel Iglesias is also a Speedy Gonzalez fan. So am I. That's why I did the video nobody watched. Please watch that video. It's good. All right. But yeah, he fights for the Speedy Gonzalez. Is someone wrestling with Christmas? It's cartoons and comics. We muted him a little bit too late, but there you go. I never found Kathy Griffin funny. Go ahead, RDB.
I was just gonna say, can Cartoon Comics back with a microphone? You sound like Joe Biden breathing on my neck.
Sorry.
So what are we picking? If it's comics, Marvel, I would reset back to the first Onslaught series and destroy all the storylines there are. Chrononaut, I think you're absolutely right about the especially the X-Men, which is another. Okay, pick a character that you think has gone off the rails, and when was the last time you thought that they were that character that you would take them back to? Like, what is?
Daredevil.
Are we leaning the obvious? There's one that's been affected for the past since 2012 or more.
Which one is that?
Spider-Man.
Let's just put the floating one more day of it all in the corner there.
Okay, because, so RDV is picking. You would pick one more day. Let's take it back.
Yeah, he hasn't been the same since then. They ended his marriage, and then he's just been written as a cuck.
Okay. Let's see.
The evil Black Cat will pick Tim Drake and take him back to pre-New 52.
Oh.
Cop knew about the shooters for 26 minutes. I know. I found out about that too. It's we're finding out. I mean, a lot of people already thought it. And conspiracy theory. We have no proof. Let YouTube. So go yourselves. Okay. That'll get me on their good side. But I think a lot of people, when the attempt occurred, immediately thought the Biden administration's behind it. I think there were a lot of people who thought that. This channel and the people represented, as far as we are on, I have no idea. I can only speak for one person, and I know I absolutely went, holy shit, Biden took his shot. That was my thought. Biden into now. I don't think Joe Biden does anything. In all honesty, I think Jill Biden may have taken her shot. I think whomever is actually in control took their shot. I'm absolutely... He
did say the phrase "time to put a bullseye on him" like hours before it happened. So there is that.
Yeah.
What a coincidence!
England team does videos. Not recently, not a lot. I want to, and I'm getting more into it. I just read a few books. I'm putting together a little history and comics kind of thing, and some top 10 lists. So yeah, let's see. But I will be. And as a matter of fact, I did do a couple of videos already. They're on From the Long Box, and they're the scores from our comic book rankings. Yippee got mad when the crazy liberals tried canceling Speedy a few years ago for not being PC. Yes, he did. God bless him for it. I hate the fact that they canceled Pepe Le Pew. The whole point was he was a dumbass for being the way he was towards women, and they completely fucking missed that. Easy, the son of Superman kissing another male. Once again, I think it was stupid. The storyline was stupid. But, yeah. Iceman pre-Jean Grey brainwashing. Yep, I agree with RDV. This Spider-Man. Superman 4 says Ray Guy. Does he mean comics or any? I meant comics. But, yeah, if you would take Superman back to Superman 4. Changing iconic characters is fine because, as Marv Wolfman said, he said that continuity hurts and that every generation deserves a new hero for their own. Okay, that's a take on it. You know, if you feel that way, go right on ahead. Did you guys read Legacies? That's about full continuity all the way. I haven't yet. I've had it in the auction a couple of times, but I don't think I've ever read it. Go on ahead, RDB.
Can anybody honestly name a bigger character at Spider-Man over at Marvel that was changed and has been ruined? I guess, yeah, you got yes, but
the
I mean,
Punisher.
Compared to how Spider-Man was the top favorite of Marvel, and he's pretty much fallen to the wayside because of the fact that for the longest year, the X-Men at least it wasn't until 2017 or whatever Hickman.
Well, in my opinion, Grant Morrison fucked them up.
No, but they didn't go full evil like where they are now with Coca-Cola bullshit.
That happened in 2012.
The issue is it's every character at this point. There is not the only characters who haven't been ruined at this point are characters that people don't know enough to use usually, because every character that you care to name has a point in recent years where they are freaking unrecognizable from themselves.
I don't recognize Daredevil since 2009.
I still maintain Marvel Comics ended as we would recognize it in 2007, and DC Comics became unrecognizable in the beginning of the New 52. So, like, the big two as a whole, every character has at one point or another gotten ruined. And like I say, the only ones you can name that haven't been ruined are characters that are too small or too niche for people to care about.
Okay, so
Sorry.
Yeah, you're breathing right into the mic, man.
I was
R.I.P. Apu from The Simpsons. That's a character that you could take him. Who was really complaining about The Simpsons that wasn't Karen's on Twitter?
The guy who made the documentary, apparently.
I was telling Marani, it's like, because we were reading New Titans, they're like, just pretend Terry's next to you, just breathing heavy.
Crononaut says Star Trek, I would erase Discovery and Picard and have it be Marnier's fault from Lower Decks. Don't know how, but her fault. Marani saying, I strongly disagree with you on John Kent. Englentini never got the chance to grow into finding out what he preferred. Plus, John also had at least one girlfriend in Legion. I did mention the girlfriends. But that would actually go to what Dalton always brings up, the fact that everybody's erased bisexuals.
So did Uncle Jor-El touch him, and that's why he turned out the way he is?
Well, it did happen after he went along with Grandpa Jor-El.
Well, here's my issue with John. It's not even that he's gay; it's that he is an Antifa supporting asshat that is the problem. If he were a gay character who was still likable, that would be one thing. But he is every bad ideologue stereotype, every activist stereotype you can care to name, and yet he has the powers of goddamn Superman. And they never frame it as the potential tyranny, the potential, power with no oversight that it is. And they always frame Clark's attempts to keep him on the straight and narrow as him being out of touch or something.
So... yeah, because when Jonathan came along, they were biting at the bit. They're like, oh my gosh, now we have a way to actually just really get our own Antifa Superman, because they couldn't do with Clark. So there's a new character, they can mold him, change whatever they want him to be, and so they tried to push Clark out of the way and call him Superman.
And even the Antifa framing would have been okay if it was properly and morally framed as him being young and stupid and naive and overzealous, and then he could have gone on a redemption arc where he would have learned the restraint that must necessarily come with that much power. But instead of that necessary redemption arc, instead of having him go on the Zuko plot line, he is framed as being good for being a overbearing, meddling little shit.
Can you imagine him blocking traffic, just sitting there protesting, and just putting like a truck in the way? It's like, I'm blocking traffic now. It's like, just turn him into full Antifa, man. That would have been crazy.
I mean, we're already in a world where Jordan Peterson was framed as the freaking Red Skull. How long do you think it's going to be before John is literally killing the writers' enemies in stand-in form?
Well, I would like to bring this up. Matthew D. Reyes said DC died in Identity Crisis. Now, this is not the first time I've heard this. I like Identity Crisis. I think that they went overboard, and I think it was a lot of shock value. That took me a couple of readings to get there, though. I never liked the Deathstroke overpowerness where he took out the Justice League, and because the Flash ends that fight. Wally West was the Flash at the time. He ends the fight because if you read that again, Deathstroke sets off a whole bunch of bombs and then thrusts his sword behind him in order to get Flash, because he knows that's the way the Flash is going to run. There is no movement Deathstroke can make that is faster than Wally West. There's just none. He sees the sword coming. He's in jail before the 3 seconds are up because the Flash, by the way, is so overpowered. Go ahead, RDV.
For those who did not read Identity Crisis, that's what it was. It was Deathstroke versus the Justice League.
No. It's it starts off with somebody kills Sue Dibney, which right out the gate.
Oh, okay, it's that. Okay.
Yeah. Because Sue Dibney and Ralph Dibney were like the freaking heart You know, they're just characters everybody loves. Nobody ever bought their comics, but everybody loves in the Justice League.
I mean,
and then they freaking killed. It wasn't just that they killed her off; it's how they killed her off.
And brainwashed Batman to cover it up using Zatanna's magic as the brain wipe mechanism.
Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't as cool as what happened to Kyle's girlfriend.
Cool. That okay. Yeah,
but Tish. Well done, sir.
Yes. Oh, by the way, speaking of Crisis, tomorrow night, I will try to be here at 7. But tomorrow night is going to be a review of Crisis on Infinite Earths. I watched part 3 this morning and immediately wanted to jump on and start. Holy crap!
I want to watch it too because I heard that Conroy follows through as Batman.
Oh god damn! Look, let me just tell you. You can look at my face and tell it's not going to be a roast. They fucking nailed it. That is it. In the Conroy, there are some emotional scenes that just hit. And Conroy's scene, it's going to make you cry. If you have, I'm telling you, Tin Man, if you have a heart, you're at least going to tear up. It's going to be, oh my God. Ignore it. I know the meme is going around. If you see it, do not turn the volume up. Do not watch it outside of the context.
It's his final Batman scene.
Yes.
So
and
I knew it was coming up.
Brilliant.
I knew it was coming up. I didn't know the context whatsoever. It's always his last time reprising the role, so I've been looking forward to watching the third part.
I have a feeling they wrote and did that dialogue. He knew he was dying. He knew he was dying, and he said those words, and it's like, oh God. Now here's the thing. I actually was talking. Somebody asked me, "Has anybody have you been watching the Crisis? How are they?" And my thought was, it's, dude, you gotta, I've got to ask you, you got to mute yourself or, because we're.
Anytime you move around the microphone, it's freaking loud.
Yeah. I was asked about how the series was, and I thought individually they're good movies. I can't see you putting them together. Guys, tomorrow we'll do a full review. It's good. It's gonna be a celebration.
It's gonna be huge.
From me anyway. So yeah, please show up then. That being said, go check it out, and you can join the conversation armed with the knowledge and such.
I haven't seen any of the Crisis movies. I'm gonna have to watch all 3 of them then tomorrow.
No, sir. No, sir. You get to watch them. All right. Let's see. I want to read a book and not in my with my head destroyed. For that, I read the Mad Magazine's trash. They made John Gay solely for flag capture of making Superman. Oh, absolutely, Maranya. Absolutely. You get one shot at the Flash as Wally West. Same with Barry Allen. It's double hard, but it's also implied that Zatanna did the mind erase many times on the Justice League. Yeah, they turned Zatanna into something of a villain.
Which Flash was he fighting? Wally West or Barry?
Wally West.
Wally West. That's bullshit. I can see Barry because Barry's slow and he's a crappy Flash, but I mean Barry's much faster than him.
Honestly, I think that actually, if Constantine were canon back during Identity Crisis, it would kind of make sense to have him do it because Constantine can afford to be morally gray and that's his character and everything. But having Z do it is just completely out of pocket, so to speak.
Oh, yeah. Here's a quote from. By the way, once again, super chats aren't necessary for your comments to be read, but they are so appreciated.
Yeah, if you want to.
By the way, and go because of a video. I am halfway to actually getting paid this month. So by all means, MK says, yeah, I agree. Some stories in DC and Marvel are just plot-induced stupidity. No way Deathstroke takes out the whole Justice League. It's almost as bad as Doom beating the Beyonder. It's all for plot to make someone win. Well, actually, if you do, go back and read Secret Wars, the Beyonder gave him the power. He let him win. All right. Okay. Did you read the novel of Christ, Son of Earth, written by Marv Wolfman and told by The Flash? I did listen to the audiobook. Does that count? Because, yeah, I did that part.
Also, with Doom actually getting the Beyonder's powers was great because you can see, like, as Doom as cocky as he is, he can't handle it. And I love the show the flaws. Even the great Doom his ego is bigger than what he is.
Well, it's similar to Thanos and his like desire for self-sabotage and why that limited his use of the Infinity Gauntlet in the comics.
I would take. Oh, sorry.
When you're that much of a narcissist, there is this like self-loathing, self-hatred thing going on, and it's nice to see that in characters like Doom and Thanos because that's exactly who they would be if they were, the people they were.
Get the Infinity Stones and swap them out with the Lantern Rings. You get the Lantern Gauntlet.
That would actually be a lot more restrained than the Infinity Gems because the emotional spectrum is incredibly hard to use. Even just one of the rings, let alone having to somehow manage to have enough control of every single one of your emotions to use all of the Lantern Rings effectively.
Kyle does it perfectly because he's Space Jesus now.
No, he
well,
lost that power, but he did have
Space
that power.
Jesus motif is what it is, and I think somebody previously mentioned that when the writers just decide they want something to happen and make things like that happen, it's annoying.
Night, Admiral.
Nah, it was a good.
Have a good one. Take care.
Until they ruined it. Like it was good until all the 25s. After the 25s, it started to go downhill.
I just don't like the fact that someone can channel all the different rings without even having the ring. Like he has one ring, and then it's like it gets just because he has emotions lets him out. I'm like, all right, then I'll get some unstable people from Earth who could probably channel all emotions and the crazy people.
I could understand it if he like dove into the heart of a power battery, one of the planet-sized power batteries or something. That would almost make sense. But like, you're
crazy,
right, having them channel it without any justification is.
Yeah. Okay, let the person who read the stuff explain instead of
explain to me how it's not crap.
Yeah. Basically, every lantern battery has an entity living inside, and for Parallax is the entity living inside the yellow battery.
Yes.
Kyle Kyle for a while was possessed by both Parallax as well as the entity of the Green Lantern battery. So he actually had a supercharged power set for a while. Like he was Green Lantern Jesus, and then they used that to make him all Lantern Jesus.
Well, but even so, it's still stupid that he can be possessed by these quasi-Lovecraftian entities, because that's what the Lantern entities generally are, is quasi-Lovecraftian in nature, and not have his mind explode. So even without the power consideration being at issue, you're telling me he could have Parallax and the Green Lantern entity, and
not at the same time. Like when Parallax took over, it kicked out the Green Lantern entity.
Right, but still, though.
And that went into Sodomiat.
You're telling me he can have these Lovecraftian entities.
His name is Sodomiat, but basically.
Okay, I thought we were going somewhere else. I was like, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
No, Sodom and then Yat. You put it together, it's Sodomiat.
Yak.
Yat.
Yak.
Yat. Y-A-T.
Yeah, but point being, just having the entity inside of him should have scrambled his noodle, let alone all the excess emotional energy of all the Lantern batteries should have scrambled his noodle. So, either way, it doesn't really work.
Yeah, so let's go back to Silver Age.
Okay.
Ignore.
Let's see. Face Boys, the emotional spectrum was always stupid. Half of the emotions anyway. I never cared for that myself. Question for Dalton. Do you think that Constantine in some way inspired the Supernatural series? Steele always gave me almost Constantine vibes, just less pessimistic.
I think if any inspiration of Constantine went into Castiel, it was probably the movie rather than the comic book character, because he's a lot more similar to Keanu's non-Constantine than he is to our blimey British bastard friend there.
It's the trench coat.
Yeah, and whatever Keanu says, notwithstanding, it takes more than an occult detective wearing a trench coat to be John Constantine, because there are a lot of occult detectives and a lot of trench coat wearing noir detectives, but they're not Constantine.
Yeah, you also need to have an accent and smoke a lot.
Like the one on Doom Patrol, Raleigh, over there.
And you need to have the worst best luck in history. That's always been Constantine's thing as well. He has the best luck, unless it matters, in which case he has the worst luck. That's the nature of the synchronicity wave he rides there.
But everybody's talking about Krypton was destroyed with bandits stuff, but no one gives a shit about it right now. They destroyed the Fortress of Solitude has been destroyed in Amanda Waller.
No.
I know, right? It's like
I haven't read it yet.
I'm more
going
like
to.
I'm more like at this point when Batman and the Outsiders, when Batman shows up at they're gonna use the satellite, and he's like, "There's a giant hole in it." He's like, "You fucking bastards!" Because one, he's like, "I told them to get out of there," and I think this is right around Crisis, right when the satellite was destroyed. I don't know if they ever explained it why, but there's a giant hole in it, and it's been abandoned because they're gonna run the test on Halo to find out her origin story. And more, and I was just like, first thing I thought, I was like, he paid for all that, and those fuckers just broke its instantly.
Yeah.
Luckily, he had Black Lightning there to charge the generators as a good helper.
Ethereal, if it matters, I am definitely not on the Lovecraftian team. I am against Team Outsider there.
Ooh. Speaking of Lovecraft, I don't know if they're gonna do it at all. They haven't done anything with Cthulhu, but that was the latest DC animated. That was a Batman with Cthulhu called Cthulhu. What was it called? The one where he basically Batman turns a giant
Damage.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
The
I
one
still
where
haven't seen that.
the one where basically Batman becomes a bat. But when Warren Ellis' book, the Gotham.
It's the sequel from the one with the Jack the Ripper.
That's actually good. Yeah, Doom Became the Gotham. That was a good movie.
Yeah,
they did that very well. Yeah,
I have yet to watch it. I want to watch it. I haven't watched it yet.
Have you
Both
checked out
are great.
Have you checked out the Gotham by Gaslit, the Kryptonian Age?
Not yet. I'm trying to correct. There are books that I did want to read, and that's one of them on the list. I am.
In the second issue, we find out that Bruce sent Adam Strange to Antarctica to explore this alien, I guess, like city that's hidden in the ice. And then, someone appears, but I'm just thinking, it's always freaking Antarctica. Get your flamethrowers, boys. You never know what's going to be in the ice.
Yeah. Let's see. Where in canon is it stated that the entities in the lanterns are Lovecraftian style entities? To fix DC undo Bendis editions, like changing how Krypton was destroyed, the aging up of John Kent. That would be amazing. By the way, once again, one of the books I read, unfortunately, I found out was the last issue, was Sinister Sons. That was fun. That was entertaining. It's over. I can't recommend it to you. Maybe when the trade comes out, but yeah, that was entertaining.
I've been told by a lot of people that Kneel Before Zod is actually really good.
Yeah, I want to check that out as well. Once again, let's see the books. I'm going to have reviews for them. I don't know if I'll do it here or from the long box. Usually reviews go over to from the long box. But I'm going to have a review for Ghost Rider Final Vengeance #1. Is it #1? No, it's issue #5. Sinister Sons issue #6. Archie Comics Judgment Day #1, and a book called Falling in Love on the Pathway to Hell. And then the follow-up reviews will be X-Men From the Ashes, X-Men #1, Death in the Family, Robin Lives, Kill All Immortals, and Daredevil. And then I want to do the Absolute Power stuff. And I might do live readings of, I want to get onto that Blood Hunt thing, and so I might do some live readings of that just from the beginning. I know a lot of you guys are already caught up with it, but
I've been
I
thinking
haven't
about
read shit.
creating a new.
So.
I'm thinking about creating a new channel called To the Short Box. So we go from the long box to the short box.
To the short box. There you go. All right. But I picked those up by meaning I went to the site and I downloaded them.
How do you?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I'm just kidding.
What?
Yeah, that England team. Did you see that the new Batman anime coming out? Batman isn't a fan. I've noticed.
What? Is that a fan?
I saw a preview for one that was. I guess it's Dini's new one.
Batman
Which
Ninja.
one are you talking about?
It's one of the Batman Ninja.
Holy shit, Batman Ninja is fucking wild. The first one that came out a while back, it was garbage, but it was wild garbage. I mean, it's like I hated it, but I want to watch it again because it was so weird that maybe it's, like when you put something on, you expect it to be one way and it's completely different.
I got shot in the leg, but I want to get, you know what? That was crazy. I want to get shot in the leg again.
Yeah. Oh, what happened to all the new heroes DC created? Silence. They are so good. You know what? I have no idea because those were good characters. Those were good series, and they just.
Ghostmaker.
What happened, by the way, was that Bendis came all over DC and screwed it all up.
What happened is that they canceled the Green Lantern books, so you don't even have it. Silencer was gone. Onomatopoeia was not really popular anymore, or at least not until they just brought her back. And the current Joshua Williamson has been bringing back some of those characters.
Onomatopoeia was a Kevin Smith invention from his. Yeah.
But I mean, like after the Kevin Smith little miniseries Green Arrows, there wasn't really any Green Arrows ongoing that I recall.
There hasn't been a Green Arrow since 2019, but up till 2019, there always had been a Green Arrow.
What do you mean? There's current one right now. It's because you don't like Joshua Williamson. There's still a Green Arrow.
Yeah, but DC stopped publishing in 2019.
Okay, sure.
We all have our cutoff points. Yeah,
that's when his jokes start being funny.
No. Yeah, my cutoff point. My cutoff point is right after the melting. Like when Infinite Frontier starts, I'm out. I do not care. No matter who's on what title, miss me.
No, who's on
and
first?
another one I'm reading, and I might do a live reading of it because I hear it's really bad. But
share the horrible.
Oh no.
Zatanna.
What the hell?
What?
The Mariko Tamaki Zatanna reboot.
It's called Zatanna Bringing Down the House. I'm actually surprised that they didn't call it Bringing Down the House instead of the House. Mariko Tamaki and Javier Rodriguez.
Why is it burning down the house?
Please make it stop.
I guess Dalton's been.
No one cares about.
Dalton, do you avoid comic
It will
books when
never
they're
stop
not doing the
until
bad?
everything's dead.
And we start off seeing some cups and some little balls.
Never
As
mind,
you can see,
Dalton.
we have 3 ordinary cups, ordinary balls. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we got it. Zatanna, move on. And we see her doing sleight of hand magic.
And then we're seeing it in full late, and then she goes to her dad for a spell, then she uses a spell, and the kid gets zapped into nowhere in the haunts.
Hey, spoilers! I'm looking forward to this.
Real quickly though, Dalton, when you're not doing the bad comic beatdowns with LK and Ed, do you just avoid comic books?
I wait until things come out in trade usually, because by the time it's come out in trade, I get the sense of whether it was good or not.
Okay.
And even then, I generally prefer getting trades and omnibuses from before the dark times. So I try to avoid things that I know are going to piss me off, which happens to be most of current comics. So
I was hoping that maybe you just weren't reading comic books, and then somehow you get dragged into when they just read the bad.
Whoa! Hold on. Yes, me and Dalton would get together and read bad comic books, but we also read Skeeter. You fuckers never watch those videos. Those are fucking awesome books.
I did watch those Skeeter's books. You know what?
They genuinely sucked. A great.
They were awesome. You were full of shit. They were awesome.
Wow. I said they sucked. I didn't say they were bad.
Oh, okay, I got it. They weren't bad. They sucked. Okay, good. Once again.
Genuinely good though, guys. You should check out Skeeters if you're really craving some old school like Silver Age or like even EC era camp. Skeeters has your back. Seriously.
Yeah. By the way, go on ahead, check out those videos as well. They're Bad Comic Beatdown Lives. We basically what we do with different readings than they do. They act it out with funny voices, and that's awesome. We read
the good ones. They read the bad ones.
We read the bad ones. We read them, and it's like what do they call it? An EFAP every frame of pause. And anytime something stupid happens, we're calling it out. We're busting it. We're busting its nuts.
We read Defenders with the great Stephen Strange, and then they.
What have you done to my boy?
We read Green Lantern with the great Tom Taylor.
We read Green Lantern with the great Gardner Fox.
Please. Again, I want to know what you've done to my boys, but I also don't want to know because I know you guys do deliberately anachronistic voices. So, cartoons, seriously, man. Like, I know my voice is annoying, but I try to make it not that annoying.
Yeah, you fail. I mean, you're good at a lot of things, but nobody's that good. So, no, I'm just messing with you. Let's see what we got here. England team, which do you think Bendis did a worse job on? Marvel at DC. DC, hands down. Marvel, he gave us Ultimate Spider-Man. He gave us the Daredevil run. Whether you like it or not, he's kind of popular. Miles Morales. For DC, he gave us John Kent aged up. He gave us Young Justice, which sucked. He gave us a horrible Dial H for Hero. He gave us the Wonder Twins. It was bad.
He gave us Naomi.
Naomi.
Shots fired. And also, Anklin Green is now, I'm going to call you from that one.
Whoa. That was not a silly talking dog book. One, they didn't talk. They communicated with each other. And two, it was fucking awesome. All right. Let's see. Also, by the way, can we get to this one then? Chrononaut, don't forget, you predicted DC becoming trash. That is absolutely true. I said that because I saw I posted it here a couple of times. I saw their panel where they were talking completely with homosexual writers and artists. And I said, DC is going to steer into the SJW bullcrap, but they're going hard. They're going harder than Marvel. And that's what we ended up getting.
And I want to point out that it was a silly dog book. Not until you wrote Feral, which is an awesome cat book.
Exactly.
Is there any way we could have gotten gay writers who weren't complete shit at their jobs? Like,
sure.
We did get Steve Orlando, but then he realized that he wasn't getting it nowhere unless he made being gay his entire personality, so they dragged him down to their level.
Same with Megs. Megs has had written some good stuff, but I mean, they just start going back, reverting to like what they think that they want to write,
Yeah, I see. That's the thing. I hate that all these various diverse writers are producing nothing but postmodern crap because it makes people come away with the impression that their sexuality makes them bad writers. And that's not true. Yeah. Or that their race makes them bad writers. And that's not true. And I can tell you, as someone who happens to swing that way, I would rather read stories that I actually didn't regret reading after reading them, which is almost never the case with these people.
RDV?
Then why do you read the magic book?
He said RDV. RDV. You both keep talking. We had one great writer with a great artist, and it represented America. Gabby Rivera.
Chrononaut saying The Dream. Gabby Rivera writing Jared Stevens as Dr. Fate with art by the She-Ra staff. Comics YouTube would explode.
No, Dalton first.
I will back this. I will back this Kickstarter. I would absolutely. Let's get that going.
You will all inexplicably die from needle wounds that you can't see being inflicted on you if that ever happens. I want you to know that. I will go full voodoo doll if I have to. You will all die as a result of that if that ever happens.
Speaking of Gabriel,
you can't afford to back that Kickstarter.
That's true. That is true. Yes.
Have you guys read the new Ultimates #2? At the
No.
end, a specific character we just talked about is now joined the Ultimates, where who's about to join. They came across her at the end of book 2.
Gabby Rivera?
Not Gabby Rivera, but America Chavez.
Stray Dogs? Oh, okay.
America Chavez.
Speaking of,
and this might be the best version of America Chavez we'll ever get, by Jonathan Hickman.
by the way, this is pure awesomeness. Okay.
Oh.
The movie version of her actually wasn't very insufferable. I liked the movie version of her. It sanded off a lot of her rough edges.
Wait, where's the cats? We want Pharaoh, bro.
No, this is Stray Dogs.
No one cares.
Pharaoh is much better art. She actually improves her art in Pharaoh.
Well, the point of this is that they wanted to make it kind of look like Disney dogs.
Well,
I mean,
and that's what they're doing with Pharaoh.
And so this dog gets thrown in with these strays after they were
put them all down.
And they're talking about when was the last time you seen your owner, and they start putting shit together.
Yeah, when you find out what it really is, it's
and then in the end they find out that the guy that's taken them, and he keeps all the dogs. The guy that keeps taking them is a serial killer. So there you go. I mean, this is the dude that took, and of course that's what happened to her owner.
They all have bad memories, so they piece all the memories together. See, they remember everything.
This is absolutely an excellent storyline. I truly recommend this. But the silly talking dog book, by the way, that I was accused of.
Pharaoh is way much better.
It's sad that talking animals can beat the current run of the big 2, regardless of which animal happens to be doing.
Yeah, I put Stray Dogs up against anything.
Well, there is a ton of books outside Marvel and DC that have just been great. Look at anything. It's been written by Mark Millar right now. Is Miller World. It's been great. You got Energon Universe. You got what's the other one that's currently out that's coming soon? I was just reading it. Ghost Machine. Thank you. That's what it was. Ghost Machine has been great. Red Coat has been phenomenally good. It's Brubaker's got another book coming out in about a couple months, and it's like you get Kirkman. Whenever he writes a book, basically it's just been great. Honestly,
unfortunately, as go the big 2, so goes the industry. So that therein lies the problem.
And honestly, I don't think that if the big 2 go in comic book form, no. Once the movies are gone, do you think people are really going to care anymore? The people who watch the movies don't read the comic books.
Yeah, but people who go to the comic book store go to the big 2, then they pick up like the indies. So this is something Doc once said, and it made sense. It's like the steakhouse sides. Most people go for their characters. Like Dalton would go for the magical characters. It doesn't matter how good some indies books are. Like
But my point is, if the big 2 go, you'll still have books being put out. It's not going to kill the rest of the comic book companies.
Right, but the infrastructure is contingent on the big 2. So if the big 2 go down, the industry itself will get smaller.
Dalton, that's not the thing. It's like most people who go aren't huge indie fans. If they go to the store, all right, there's an indie book, I'll pick that up. I'll browse this, I'll see this. There are some.
I would disagree.
Here's the thing.
Kick-Ass was really popular for normies.
Okay,
no.
But
it was popular among normies after the movie came out.
Also, they picked up Kick-Ass because they went to the bookstore to buy something else. Like,
and you'll still have Conan the Barbarian. You'll still have Red Sonja. You'll still have these other IPs.
I don't care enough for them to, like. I get it digitally. Like, I stopped even going online because Batman has been sucking, Tim Drake has been sucking, Robin has been sucking. Nightwing has been sucking, so these are the books that I.
and one of them has.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the fundamental issue here. In a industry that was working well, DC would see their asses getting kicked by these indie books because they are getting, DC or Marvel would see their asses getting kicked by these indie books, and they would go on the phone and be like, "Oh, hello, author of this really great indie book. Would you like to write one of our major superhero characters?" Or something along those lines. And that is not happening.
They learned their lessons with Heroes Reborn.
My point is that Conan the Barbarian's been around before Marvel was even a freaking thought bubble.
And how small was the industry then?
Does the usual normies go to buy that? The
normies are buying. They're buying manga. They don't give two shits about Marvel DC. If Marvel DC go, guess what? We'll go back to actually getting other movies that aren't just superhero stuff.
I think RDV is saying something along the lines of what I said. Look, if Marvel and DC fold, will that kill comics? No. Will it change comics? Absolutely.
Yeah, it will change things.
I think the industry, if Marvel and DC stop producing comics, it will change the industry. Absolutely. Comic shops will have to definitely find pops and games and all that kind of stuff to survive. Because not a lot of people, let's take nobody out of the thing. Not a lot of people go, hey, I'm going in for the independent books. They discover the independent books going in for Superman and Batman and Spider-Man and so forth. They go, oh, wow, look, that shirtless bear fighter. Let me get that. That looks interesting. They are not, and by this, we're not talking about you and anybody on this panel or in the chat, because we're locked in to what happens in comic book world. We're talking about people that go into the comic book shop and, hey, this is where we can get, we just saw the movie. We're going to go get a Thor comic or something like that. And they see that. Now, will comics go away? Fuck no. Because we're seeing things like Tim and Doug and they're putting out their books through Kickstarter or whatever. Comic books will always be here. And if it ends up only being independent comic books, if you're smart, a lot of you go to your comic book shops and you sell your comic to them directly. You make sure that they're going to have 10 issues of that next issue every month in their hands. That's the way to do it. Will it change it? Yes. Will it change it in ways that old farts like me not like it? More than likely. But it's not going to absolutely kill it, destroy it. Comic books are gone forever. It would just be comic books as we know it. The comic book industry as we know it would be gone.
Well,
you were keeping it a bit. Go on ahead.
Something of value will be lost if that happens, though. The dominance of the superhero genre will be lost. Not to mention the almost a century's worth of continuity on both DC and Marvel's part, respectively. So, well, more like a half century for Marvel because Marvel came in second. But you know what I'm saying. Yeah. We grew up, and our parents grew up, and our grandparents and our great-grandparents all grew up on these characters and these universes, and something of value will be lost if the big two do not sort out their shit. And I'm not convinced that something can just up and replace something that's been around for, again, almost a century, give or take a year.
Yeah.
Will something called the comic book industry remain? Sure, but it won't be superhero centric, and a lot of people care a lot about the superhero genre. It won't be the years and years of niche continuity that we've all know and love as geeks and nerds and things, and there won't be this legacy to pass on to younger generations. Which, speaking as somebody who is turning 29 later this month, I was grateful to have that legacy passed on to me when I got into comics, and I want to be able to pass it on to the next generation of comic book readers, but I probably won't get to because it will probably be burnt to the ground by the time the next generation comes up.
But what you just said was basically the same thing I did. It will change, and it will change in ways we don't like it, but it will not completely erase it. Let me go to some comments here. MK is asking, do you think manga overall is popular than Batman and Spider-Man? Yes. Nowadays, yes, absolutely. The big two haven't been the big two for 25 years, says Matt. That would bring us to what, about 1998? I agree with that, actually. If you're going to do your own version of another creation's character, you should always list titles of that creation by its original creator. In modern times, you can QR code their work in your book, says Cliff Woodbury. Matt says comics were for normies before the advent of comic shops. It was a death sentence for the industry. I disagree with the comic shop thing. I think what ended up really just sweeping the legs, it took a while, but making Diamond the only distributor for the longest, I think that's what really killed it. It took a long time, but that's what ultimately I think did it. And this way, any changes feel improve the character or make it more your own can be done without feeling like you have slighted the original character. But modern day comic writers, I don't think will do that. You're going back to the title, and that's awesome. Thank you very much for that.
Darn you, title.
The angle we were coming at it was like we originally were talking about. They're going to give an origin story to Popeye's eye. Like, why is it squinty? A mystery nobody wanted or needed to have solved. So who the fuck are they to even offer up a solution? On the other hand, you have things like Mr. Freeze being an evil douchebag for being an evil douchebag's sake. And then all of a sudden, here comes the Batman animated series, and he's got new motivations, and he's a much more better character for it. So how much do you allow modern comic book writers to change a character that's been around for 50 to 80, in Popeye's case, 95 years?
Well, but that's the thing. Nobody cares when good changes are made because good changes actually add something of substance to the character. Bad changes always leave a hole where something else once was, or where something usually better was, and that's the issue. It's not changes for change's sake that are the issue. It's bad changes that are the issue.
I agree.
Good changes are welcome. Bad changes are shit.
Jared sees Zombie Dr. Fate is a bad change.
Absolutely, yes. I think we joke about Jared Stephen because he is the worst of the Dr. Fates. Yeah. But I think actually Cliff Woodbury, once again, you don't need the super chat to get your comments read off. We're not huge, so they're not passing by a million miles an hour.
We won't.
But it is welcome. It is welcome. But Cliff Woodbury is saying that the fact is, many times no one remakes an old idea; it'll be forgotten. So changing it for your own taste, but leaving the original work to be seen, is better than the idea being lost. And I like that. I like the idea of that. Of course, when you talk about things like Superman and Batman, that's always been around, you still have to update in some cases. You know, by the time Crisis on Infinite Earths hit, Superman was so overpowered that people were having a hard time writing for that character. But that is a needed change, you know. Brian Michael Bendis came in and started writing Superman, completely fucking over one of the greatest runs of Superman all time by Peter J. Tomasi. And he changed the origin. Once again, I'll bring it up. He changed the origin of the destruction of Krypton because he wanted to introduce his character into it. That's it. There was no true narrative sense as to making that change. So
no logic or in-universe reasoning behind it.
It's kind of like how, you know, when a handsome guy hits on a girl, it's cool. But when an ugly one hits on a girl, it's sexual harassment. You know, it's like, these idiots who are doing all the bad changing, like making Tim Drake gay or Bobby Drake gay, they're not allowed because they have bad ideas.
Yeah,
it's not for narrative reason.
Let's broaden Cliff's point out to Hollywood in general, because I see people whining and complaining every single day about remakes, and I keep internally yelling in my head, it's not remakes that are the issue. It's the fact that those remakes are bad that is the issue. Nobody complains when it's a good remake, because a good remake, again, like I said earlier, actually adds something to the legacy or actually provides a new angle on the legacy of an IP. But bad remakes do nothing but make people cringe, and the cringe gets translated onto the IP if you do it often enough or long enough.
Unfortunately, there's a bunch of people who cringe it regardless what it is, if it's a remake, because they are purists and they're like, "Damn it, I don't want this character to start wearing glasses. I like them better without glasses."
Yeah, and those people are stupid because again, the main issue should be it's not that remakes exist that is the issue, because Hollywood has always remade and adapted material that previously existed. Hollywood is an adaptational medium. The issue is when those remakes actually are a drain, are a worth sink on the IP or the industry in question.
I will say that you could have as many remakes you want that are great, but after a while, it just gets to the point where it's like, I'm done with 30 reboots.
Well,
I want something new.
You can say the talking going from comics to movies, remakes and sequels have overtaken original movies. The independents, much like comics, the independents are doing original films, but big studios are all IP. Let me answer this. What is a normie? A mainstream person? Sure, I am. Then no, a normie, like we are all comic book people. We are in the know, especially me. Now, so I wouldn't consider myself a comic book normie. A normie is somebody who knows who Superman and Batman is, but doesn't exactly know that once upon a time they had pink kryptonite that actually made him gay. You know, we know all the little lore things. We're a little bit deeper than your average person. Your average person isn't so much mainstream as they're not as heavy into. I don't think that a normie has a shelf like that. You know, that's what I'm saying.
I want to thank you for answering his question after I answered it about like 5-10 minutes ago.
Oh yeah, well I saw you wrote something. Someone who only watches the movies, and I was thinking, yeah.
Pretty much this it is. There's normies are pretty much people who will not like say movies. There's people who read the books, and there's people who watch the movies. And these are the people who watch the movies, hate the movies because it's nothing like the book. Where the normie's like, I just watched the movie.
Now, Moran is saying, I strongly agree that comic shops hurt the comic book industry when comics were taken out of places. But that's two different things. Direct comic book shops are, it's different. It's than taking them out of, say, Publix or the convenience stores and stuff. That is more of a distribution thing. You could still have newsstand and you could still have direct, but after a while, the comic book industry decided not to do the newsstand. That's on them. That's not the comic book shop's fault.
No,
you could say, well, now that they've got, yeah, but I mean, like you can go and buy cigarettes at a convenience store, but there are also smoke shops.
But her point though, you could have the best, like, you know, crazy, like great comics coming out right now with none of this crap, inserts. The fact that they're only confined to one place, I didn't find about it until I was 2018, when I was 18 years old.
Well, yeah, and
because they weren't in shops anymore.
I'm living in I used to be flush when I was in Orlando. Now I went to the comic shops around Muncie. They suck. I mean, they are horrible here. They're just bad comic book shops.
I had no one to take me to a comic book store because I didn't know it existed until I was 18. I ventured out. I was like, holy shit, there's comics. I watched the cartoons. I had no idea they're based off of actual comic books. I thought maybe they're based off of books or some sort of books or whatever. There's a lot of cartoons that were not based off of comic books that came out in the 80s I watched. So it's, like I said, it does hurt when we don't see comic books in actual places like Walgreens. There's a Walgreens at every freaking corner in America. There should be comic books in there. There should be bundles being sold in there.
There used to be comic books sold at Walmart occasionally. I think that was where I got my first comic. It was a Batman versus Spawn comic.
I've never seen comic books in there. I've seen manga at Target.
I've seen packs, but there used to actually be individual issues. Cliff Woodbury is saying comic shops are what make comics a community. It's the exclusion of non-big two titles in comic book shops that killed the industry. I would go a little bit more with the fact that it's no longer one of the main things that kids are spending their disposable income. I mean, for $50, you can get 10 comics or a 14-hour video game.
Of course, there's the other issue of what disposable income, but that's another issue entirely.
Yeah, That and the fact that we're talking how, in some areas comic book shops are sparse. It goes along with Chrononauts next, which says, "Yeep, the price is in low quality product and no classic creators." And as I've said, I can always read fan fiction for free, says Chrononaut. Yeah, and if you're getting better stories, do you want to read? Do you want to read what's being put out for the X-Men, or would you prefer to read John Byrne's fan fiction for the X-Men?
This is why I prefer trades and omnibuses, because number one, I can get trades and omnibuses, and it's a format worthy of the material inside it if it's good content. And two, I can know this is the storyline I'm buying when I buy an omnibus, and therefore I can know this is from this great creator, or this is from when this great, plot point or mechanic was introduced, and so on. And I can put it on my shelf, and I can read it at any time I want to, and it's right alongside any novel or any other piece of fiction you care to name.
There's two things that need to happen. Comic books need to go back on the $2.99. And you need to start putting in shops where the magazines, where kids have toys, where you're going to sell the action figure. Put a comic book there, because the little kids are like, oh, there's more, because they see Spider-Man on this cover. They're going to want that. They don't care if it's a book or not. It's something that has Spider-Man in it. They're going to want to look at it.
Now, Moran, you say when kids can't get to comic books and can't afford them because of the collector market, I blame the shops. It's gotten bad, but once again, the new books, which is what we're mainly talking about, those prices aren't really decided by the comic book shops. They're decided by the publishers. Yeah. That being said, if I were running the show, I would definitely make sure that there was that there were comics aimed at kids. And if you have to make them a loss leader, make them a loss leader. Get them hooked on the characters. Get them hooked on the books. So when they grow up, they do move in. But right now, Marvel and DC, and I think for about maybe 10, 15, even 20 years, it seems that kids have been an afterthought, if a thought at all. I don't think kids have been a market for comic books for decades. No. I know there have been one or two, but
no, they've been a market for the characters because of other media, but never for the books. No.
Yeah. Which just makes you think, why would I read the comic books when I could just watch the DCEU or something?
When the Batman series is coming out, I was probably about 7 years old, around 92 and stuff. They had coloring books, activity books, with Spider-Man, Batman, and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, it's just kind of cool and stuff. And nowadays, it's here and there. There's some stuff. It's very, very preschool, if I find anything. But as far as they don't even have that anymore at stores. It's how hard it is to find a word search.
Well, and not to get political, but literacy rates are dropping like a stone thrown out of a window. So even if they wanted to get kids in the door, unfortunately, the educational system has screwed kids over so badly that only the top 10% of all kids are literate enough to enjoy reading or engage with the written word, period.
You'll get a kick out of this. We're reading, because we were already on the channel the other night. We're reading the Teen Titans Go, one of the issues, and Mumbo Jumbo or whatever. He basically he turns it into the Titan Tower into a connected by numbers, dots number. I'm like, I can't remember the last time I saw anything like that. Connect the dots, and then I start one, go here. Well, that brought me back to my childhood, the early 90s.
One thing that's missing, and I think, and I could say one big ass name that would truly help bring kids into comics. That being said, help me, but I grew up, when I was a kid, we barely had TV. We had 3 channels, 5 if you had UHF, and that's it. We actually went outside and played a lot. So comic books, that was a legitimate form of entertainment for kids. But what we need a Harvey. We absolutely need a Harvey. There is not that kind of focus on kids comics. Now, Warner Brothers still puts out Looney Tunes. They're $4 fucking $5. Put it out for $2. Get kids into the comics. Just get them used to the feel, the touch, the reading, and so forth and so on. And they will, if they like comics, they'll graduate. It will go, okay, I read the Looney Tunes, I read the DuckTales, I read Richie Rich. Let's see what this Teen Titans thing is all about.
And
you read Teen Titans Go, and maybe you'll want to read actual Teen Titans.
Yeah, and while we're here, if you want kids to turn into readers, read to them in the ages before they are expected to read for themselves. That's the easiest way to do it.
When they get to teenage years, don't let them have any streaming devices, and this only have Teen Titans DVDs down there.
Yeah, and some toys are no longer thought of as toys; they're collectibles. Yeah,
and that's another thing to Venkman's point. We need to make use of the fact that you can get anything or almost anything on DVD or Blu-ray at this point in a whole series format, and
like
show kids that stories can be interesting and complicated. Because I will tell you, the stories I grew up with, the action cartoons of the 90s and early 2000s, are more mature than the quote-unquote adult dramas that are currently on TV now, and they had more episodes per season than most adult dramas, quote-unquote, on TV now. And that is absolute bullshit. It's because people are not just illiterate in the written word sense, they're illiterate in the storytelling sense, period. And it's utterly baffling.
Cliff Weber saying kids are forgotten. Comics are for adults. Even the toys are now $15 for the Marvel Legends stuff.
How are you going to buy? How are you going to go even to Ollie's? I don't know if you guys have been to an Ollie's. I go all the time, and they have all the unsold stuff from past movies and so forth in the toy aisle, and that's a discount shop, and they're $10 there. Why would you?
That's Walgreens. Yeah, Walgreens has toys. But they're
Walgreens has the Mega Bloks version of Lego. They're not. It's like instead of Batman, it'll be like Batmant, or something like that, and it'll look like Batman, but an ant or something like that.
You want that Batmobile or the Batwing, and it's $100, sweetie.
It's like the Batmobile, just so they could say they're not copywriting. But they've got such knockoff toys there. You think you're in Argentina when you walk into a freaking Walgreens.
Back in the day, we took a marker and we took some construction paper and we built our own superheroes, the capes, and we drew on the actual Lego figures. That's what I did as a kid. And then you just build your own stuff. That's not how you build a helicopter, bitch. I do what I want. I can make my own thing. I made my own seaplanes using the boats from the pirates. Yeah. I don't care.
Who else learned to read by 4? I picked up my first. I said I've got it saved. I still haven't bought it, but I picked up my first trade paperback. It was a hardcover when I was 4, and it was Golden Age. It had the original Superman. It had the first appearance of Superman, first appearance of the Flash, first appearance of Hawkman, and a whole bunch of Plastic Man.
How do you read?
Yeah, I found it, and I want to buy it, but I just haven't pulled the trigger on that. But I finally found it.
What do you mean? How do you learn to read? I'm still learning how to read. We're reading the comic books.
I read Impact Comics to my daughters, and that got them into reading. And then I turned them on to Zatanna and Power Girl, and just a lot of the stronger female characters. And then they went and said, "Okay, now manga."
I'll be reading these old Marvel books by Stan. I'm being like, can I phone a Dalton? I got a giant word here. I don't know. I've never heard anybody use. I'm like, Dalton probably knows. He's like, I love that word.
I mean that is literally what I'm here for. What is the point of having me on call if you don't occasionally?
I will say this: if the Geeky Puppet Show ever reads Doctor Strange, you have to have Dalton on to read the hoary hosts of Hoggoth dialogue. You have to have him on there.
I will do my best to do a Vincent Price impression, because that is the impression that Doctor Strange deserves. God damn it!
So that's what Trusty does. Trusty reads him as Vincent Price, and so does Pixel. Try to do that, and then when I take over, I just read him as Cartman.
Who do we know that can do?
Someday I will do very terrible things to you, and you will ask me why. And this will be the day that I will call your attention back to. I will have you know.
Don, you kind of stepped on Evil Black Cat. What were you saying?
Well, he's a cat. We step on cats all the time.
Yeah. Does anyone here know how to do a good Peter Shooten impersonation?
Peter Hooten.
You're on my list too, Evil Black Cat. Don't keep going.
Hoarfrost, host of Hogwarts. Yeah. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. English is the only modern language that has spelling bee because of how messed up that it is in written form.
Wait, do other countries not have spelling bees? What?
I don't know. They used to have what are called "shut me up" toys for kids, aka low price toys to buy the kids to shut them up. Me and Gail, we're taking a walk. We lived by a mall, so we would take Ashley out when it was just her, and she was about 1.5, 2 years old, and right behind the mall was a Toys R Us. We took her in, and if she looked for something while we were walking about, we'll give her a toy to play with. And she was laughing at this thing. It was a toy that you played. How much is the doggy in the window? Except for as a duck. How much is that ducky in the window? And every time it went to the quack, 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 the duck would go quack, quack, quack. Ashley lost her mind. She was just laughing her ass off every time. So this thing's $10, and we're like, hey, she loves it. Let's get it. And we got it for her. I swear to God, this happened. This absolutely happened. She's like, yeah, we buy it. We walk towards the door. We walk out the door. And she never laughed at it again. It was like, really? That fucking quick? So yeah, watch out for those buying kids toys.
Back in the day, you turn and like, what does the cow say? Moo.
Well, speaking, it was the speak and say or something. See and say.
Yeah, I had one of those as a kid, and I was just
cow says moo, and then if the voice got mixed up, the cow says meh. Yeah.
But what does the fox say?
God damn it! Now the song is in my head.
I don't get it. How much is that dog? That one?
I thought mine was a defective because mine doesn't say moo. Mine just says beef.
I admit I played with Barbies as a kid, but I will tell you this: they got caught in a lot of power lines because of plastic bag parachutes. And did you know they're not fireproof? Yes, I did know that. They did actually have GI Joes with. Well, I don't know how old you are, but when I was a kid, they had GI Joes with parachutes. You threw them up and boom.
Well, yeah,
inevitably they got into a tree or something. The parachute tore, and that was the last of them.
We did Battle Rockets.
Battle Rockets.
I watched the direct to VHS Barbie movies when I was a kid. My favorite was the Barbie Swan Lake version. And it's funny because years later, when I actually went to see a production of Swan Lake, I could remember the plot based on, oh hey, this is from that movie that I watched when I was like 5 or something.
Yeah. Wow, Rhaegar is behind. What? Hank Azaria voiced Apu? Yes, he did. I will. Let's see. Did Martin years later apply for a Apu post? It was Hank Azaria. Hank Azaria. Yeah. I played with classic GI Joes that ended up with bad shark attacks because you could remove the feet and hands and arms up to the hip. I remember that. Yeah. Oh my gosh, the guy's booth at the flea market I sell has an old Steve Austin doll, but he's missing an arm. I was like, dude.
Speaking of which, the Captain Action is coming back to comic books.
I saw Captain. It looks like it was released about 8 or 10 years ago, but a Captain Action doll, I haven't seen those in forever and a day. Well, it was obviously a recreation.
Sure, the last one I saw was at Toys R Us where they went under.
Yeah, it's like I got excited. I saw it at a flea market. Somebody had Turbo Man. I was like, oh God! And I pick it up and I turned over. It said something like 2013. It was modern day, and I was like, dude, they recreated the Turbo Man dolls.
So when I go to flea markets, you know what I look for? The old school metal lunch boxes, or even the plastic ones. When I find like Transformers, G.I. Joe, and all those original ones, I'm just like, these are sweet. And now they are releasing, you can get to your comic book stores, they have the metal ones still. They're really releasing them with Thermos. They have the new Ninja Turtles. They have Godzilla. holy crap, they got a lot of Godzilla lunch boxes coming out. But I mean, those are always kind of cool. I remember I had the Garfield plastic ones in the 90s, but they started off, if I recall, tin. Weren't they like, aluminum? They're like some kind of like tin version they had.
Yeah, I was there when they were first put out.
Well,
we have that long. We have that long until the.
Well, it's good that you recycle. I'm glad you're recycling it.
Yeah, well, it tastes better. It tastes better the second time.
It helps with your gills, right?
Of course. Let's see. Is Captain Action basically Action Jackson?
No. Yes. Action Jackson is deceased. Yeah.
Which toys do you think were more popular in the 80s into the 90s, TMNT or Transformers, dude?
You're going to start a war with that question, sir.
I was 18. I was into cars and chicks. Toys, not so much. Actually, I did look around. I did go to the comic shops, and I wasn't really paying attention to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Transformers. I would go Turtles.
I'll argue. What's more popular was Cabbage Patch.
Cabbage Patch. That was in 85, 84, around there.
But
in 88, 89, I think it was the Turtles. The cartoon came out.
Well, I remember Real Ghostbusters came out in 85, 86.
Yeah. Transformers was a little bit before that.
It's right around 84.
Yeah. From what I remember, I may be wrong. Don't put that in.
There's no maybe. You're just always wrong.
But
TMNT and Transformers and Power Rangers were on my generation, I think, more than your guys's.
I still went to the comic shops because I was 20 years old in 1990, and I remember
you were ancient back. They must be ancient now.
I remember getting like the "I Want to Eat Your Brains" Venom, the one with the voice box and all that kind of stuff. That line of Marvel action figures.
If you were 20 years old, that was Brain in his 30s then?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, he's 10 years older than I am, so he would have been 30 then.
Mario, what was it like being in your 30s in the 80s?
Oh no, she would have been in her 20s, I think, in the maybe towards the end she turned 30 because I think they're the same age.
Brain was 40 in the 2000s, I think.
Yeah, that tracks from I think Marania would have turned 30 in 1990-ish, or that area around there. Obviously, she's getting into for herself. Captain Action was an action figure in the U.S., much like G.I. Joe, but he had superhero costume like Batman, and his sidekick had a Robin costume. Spelling bees are most common in English-speaking countries. Others have dictionary competitions like China and dictation like France. Quick poll. How rich would you be if you had your childhood toys in boxes in mint condition? Dude, I had the original Star Wars figures. I had G.I. Joe. I had all the Megos. I had the Star Wars games, the Fantastic Four game, the Jaws games. I had the Ewok playset. If I kept all my toys, all my comics, all that kind of stuff.
Here's a quick poll. Books you want to see coming in future rankings. And I say Doctor Strange. The earliest Doctor Strange.
Well, you mean like Golden Age, the pre Doctor Strange?
Which?
No, right after he took off his stupid blue mask off.
Oh, when he got his own book, you mean?
Yes.
After Strange Tales.
Yes, that first
book. After Ditko left.
Yep.
Yeah, I had the $6 Man. I had those. I remember there was a G.I. Joe that you could pump up when you pumped up the arm, the muscle actually.
I just figure since we're all here, we might as well just do polls, so we can just figure out which books we want to read next or look at next.
We'll do that tomorrow.
I didn't have a lot of toys by reason of I grew out of toys relatively quickly. I had every Batman you could shake a stick at, though, because I remember being absolutely obsessed with the 2 Tim Burton movies as a kid. But shortly after that, I grew out of toys and started collecting just random antique things. Like I have so many bells. Like I actually have an old school cast iron like church bell. It's probably the biggest one I have. and I've got swords and walking sticks out the walls. My freaking room looks like a museum half the time because of all the weird antique stuff I've been collecting since I was like 6 years old, because I always spent basically every weekend from the time I came home from the hospital to around the time I was 15, I spent with my great grandmother, and she got me into antiquing, essentially.
So Dalton, it's confirmed that you were Stuart Griffin growing up. You're building death rays.
I was okay. I was a weird kid. All right. I
was
at the age of 9. My aunt's boyfriend at the time gave me a physics book, which was Stephen Hawking's Universe in a Nutshell, and that is the first book that I ever remember consciously choosing to read cover to cover. I read other books for school, or when they were doing the accelerated reader program and they made you read, I read those, but I was always kind of bored. But that book is the first book at the age of 9 that I ever consciously chose to read cover to cover, and it was Stephen Hawking's Universe in a Nutshell.
I just imagine you just practicing how to make gunpowder, and just like running around the sword chasing animals.
I never did. I never did make gunpowder because I was always more interested in the theoretical models of physics than I was the practical side of it when I was into physics. And then around the age of 10, I started to get into philosophy more than I was into physics, and that led me into magic. And 17 or 18 odd years later, here we are.
Well, here's a poll. Dalton's favorite version of Hellblazer versus his favorite version of Doctor Strange. Which is better?
What's your favorite version of Doctor Strange? The favorite run of Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Favorite run of Doctor Strange. That is... I mean, Steve Englehart has a great run. Roger Stern has a great run. If you put a gun to my head, I would probably choose either Roger Stern Doctor Strange or Defenders Doctor Strange, because sadly enough, Doctor Strange was often written better in a team book like the Defenders than he was in his own book, sadly.
What about that era where he was wearing that mask?
Okay.
I will nuke you if you ever mention it again. That's what I think of that era. Although in Marvel's defense, unlike modern day writers who will double down into the oblivion, they realized they screwed up with the masked version of Doctor Strange. That's why it didn't last very long.
Alrighty.
You guys want to judge Jared, Steven, Dr. Fate covers tomorrow?
I actually want to do. I want to look over the first Doctor Strange covers, not the Golden Age. This is when he first got his first series. Go over those.
Silver Age.
Silver Age is fun.
Yeah, but honestly, if we visit Jared Stevens covers before we visit Kent Nelson era covers, I might riot. Actually, really riot. I will protest that.
Who is Kent Nelson? I've never heard of him.
Bateman?
Is he important?
Someday I will find you,
really.
and you will scream until you die.
Duh! I'm an idiot. He's a brother Ricky Nelson. That's what it is.
All right. I put the poll up, kids. We don't have hours because we're actually going to be wrapping up in probably about 10 minutes here, or less. So vote. We'll honor it. I've got Steve Englehart's Doctor Strange. I've got Dr. Fate from the 1980s. I've got Defenders and Hellblazer.
There you go. They were tied for a minute.
It's funny that you guys chose to do this now, because my birthday is literally, not this week, but next week. The 25th is my birthday.
Well, we got a few coming up before this, but eventually we'll get to this.
Well, yeah, we've got a few, but we can settle this on the birthday if you want.
4 votes right now.
The 25th is my birthday.
Englehart.
And I believe the 29th is yours, or is it the 28th?
I'm on the 29th. Yeah.
Because I know we are close calendar-wise. We're obviously not close year-wise because I'm the same age as your kids, but we are close calendar-wise.
Yeah.
You're between those two, age-wise.
Well, yeah, he meant it as a general. He is. You're right between Ashley and Elizabeth. Let's see, Star Wars, G.I. Joe, He-Man, She-Ra, Magic cards from Before Alliance and Ice Age, He-Man's Castle, says Chrononaut. Oh man, he did it. Haha, Dalton is like, damn you with those choices. I'm choosing Doctor Strange for obvious reasons, says Rhaegar. And there you go. But yeah, I actually think it would be fun, by the way, because the choice when we do the covers, we're just talking about the cover. Doesn't matter what's on the inside of the book. But I do think it would be fun to get Dalton to look at the Jared Stevens Dr. Fate covers and have to make objective
aesthetic judgments.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Maybe that's what we should do. You know, I think that would be a fun choice. Me, the three of us and Eric. What is your most hated comic book that you've ever read? And that's what we'll do, and we'll let everybody pick that. So
we all know yours isn't actually going to be eligible because you said nothing before 2013, and thus we can't vote in Secret Empire for you.
That is true. Yeah, that is the Captain America number 25. By the way, guys, if you are new to the channel and you have not seen the video, please look up Captain America number 25. Go to the community area, go to the front page, and you can search videos. Look for Captain America 25 or look for Secret Empire. Captain America 25 is I went off.
You know,
it is known.
You could just do the coats, Captain America. That's just bad, right?
Yourself. That never existed. You forget how rich the movie posters would make. Oh, freaking hell yeah! Let's tell that story again. Yeah, I would have gotten a couple of dollars for the 1970s Alice in Wonderland, the Blacklight Fantasia poster, the 1970s Pinocchio. I had the freaking Song of the South movie poster that I had that my mom sold for $1 each at a garage sale.
See, as someone who frequently frequents garage sales, I love when people don't realize what they have. But as someone who would never part with anything he's bought at a garage sale, I would hate your mother if she did something like that to me.
For that, I wasn't there, but for that garage sale, I was that guy. But
I can't think of the worst comic book thing from pre-2013. I mean, there's One More Day, but that's 4 issues. But I'm trying to think of what hated comic books. I never really read books. If I read them, okay, that was.
What about
I didn't hate it, so
Clone Saga? That's a fairly bad Spider-Man book.
I enjoyed it though.
But here's the thing. I think you came up at a different time.
Where dinosaurs are longer running there.
Let me explain. Comic book collectors of my generation fill runs. You know, we would nowadays. I think it's more you follow creators than you do characters. But as a Teen Titans fan, I would go through the entire run, and then whenever they had a book, I would pick it up, whether it was good or not. We didn't want the holes in our collection. So we would force ourselves through runs of a good character we didn't like. I don't think that happens so much, less in your generation, less in Dalton's generation, and I don't think modern day would say
currently for me, that's Tini Howard on Catwoman.
Now that started back in when shit started hitting the fan, because I collected Nightwing even in the crappy Rick Grayson era, but after Tom Taylor, I'm like, nope, not doing it.
Yeah, I actually didn't hate the Rick Grayson series.
Yeah, basically, it's my favorite character. So when I did nearly go broke,
I stopped collecting modern comics when Doctor Strange: Last Days of Magic came out. That was the final straw for me. I'm like, from this moment forward, I will only buy things that existed before this because this is.
Yeah, when I had to budget, I dropped Venditti's Hawkman before I dropped Nightwing. But
why did you drop Venditti's Hawkman at all?
Because it wasn't my. I needed to budget, and it wasn't my favorite character.
That's harsh. That is harsh, man. That's a bad decision right there. All right,
is,
everybody, if you haven't voted,
loss, is what we call
if you haven't voted, please go on over to the poll and vote. We are actually going to honor this for Dalton's birthday coming up on the 25th.
We're tied. No.
And yeah, going over. We're at a tie.
If you would have ended it like 10 minutes ago.
I haven't ended it yet. So go on over. Go on over.
So we're making Dalton come here on his birthday?
Yeah.
No, we're going to him.
Well, I'm busy like from the day after my birthday through like the first week in August because I believe, unless something changes, I'm actually going to Pennsic this year. For those who know what that is, but I should.
We didn't say you had to be here. We didn't say you had to be here for your birthday, but yeah, we'll do it on the 25th.
Well, I'm not gonna literally miss the episode that's deliberately judging my character, especially not when it's on my freaking birthday.
And I'm ending the poll, and looks like Doctor Strange, the Steve Englehart run.
That was nail biting because it started.
Mercy is what that was. Because
11 people voted. Thank you very much for the participation. 18% to both Defenders and Hellblazer. Dr. Fate 27% and Doctor Strange 36%. All right. So of whom did you vote for there, RDB?
I went for Englehart because I was like, oh, I love the other ones, but I want to read Doctor Strange or just Defenders are cool and stuff. Dr. Fate, I don't really know what the covers are. They could be great, but I know that the Doctor Strange always had some really cool covers from Marvel.
Yeah, I voted for Defenders.
And the thing is, because people were constantly memeing me about my hatred for the Jared Stevens version, the version that was in that poll is the worst Doctor Fate. So that's not even a good Doctor Fate to get accustomed to Doctor Fate with.
Isn't that the first run, the Silver Age, like I said? Englehart's the second one?
Dr. Fate's first run was the More Fun Comics run, which was started in 1940. But Doctor Strange's first run, where he actually got the title, where he got top billing, was the Doctor Strange that happened after Strange Tales Volume 1 finished. Because he used to be the headliner for Strange Tales, but
was that
after Ditko left, they gave him his own solo series, and I believe Dave Englehart was the first one on that, unless I'm mistaken.
I'm curious though. Here, before we go, I am looking. I am curious about something. Okay. Wow. This thing ran for 23 issues. Let us see, though. It doesn't matter what's on the inside. When we're judging covers, it's all about the outside. This, by the way, are the covers for Jared Stevens' Fate.
They're terrible.
Yeah, they were.
In all honesty, not all of them are.
I will say this. They have a fun 90s cheesiness to them because everything about that run was 90s cheese.
Yeah.
But if you know anything about the character or like the story in the book, it's adding insult to injury, so to speak.
I am giving both number 5 and number 10 10s already.
There you go. See? Yeah, that's the way it goes. Chad, I was going to vote for Fate, but I am listening while fixing a chair, says Matt. Does Dalton like the new 52 helmet better than classic helmet? For Fate.
The helmet, like aesthetically, I'm partial to the classic version. I can see why some people might like the new 52 version aesthetically. But as far as the character goes, ever since they introduced the Possession retcon, which began in Days of Vengeance, or just before Days of Vengeance, and got solidified in the New 52, Dr. Fate has not been the same character. anything before the possession retcon was instituted is usually pretty good. But after the possession retcon was instituted, Dr. Fate is not the same character, and that's why I really freaking hate whenever they adapt him and imply the possession retcon. The Black Adam movie actually did a pretty good job of keeping it sort of 50-50 possession retcon and not possession retcon, which I enjoyed. So it was nice that they didn't go like Young Justice did. Young Justice is well, I should say it's better after the Outsiders season 1 of Young Justice, but Young Justice is one of the examples of they just went full possession retcon, and I hate the possession retcon so much.
I think that's what Johns did in his Hawkman run, because the son, Hank's son, or Carter's son, it was Dr. Fate at the time.
Yeah.
Hector was Fate for a while. Hector as Fate I actually liked because they actually played with an interesting element. Because Hector Hall was the son of Hawk and Dove, or related to Hawk and Dove, he was an embodiment of both order and chaos.
And Hawkwoman.
Yeah.
So instead of
not the son of Hawk and Dove.
Well, yeah, but because Hector was born of chaos and order, he actually was able to be a balancing force for the helmet and not just an agent of order, which I did enjoy that aspect of his tenure as the character. Also, Hector Hall has an amazing history as a character, because he went from being Dr. Fate to being the Sandman in the 80s.
Well,
no, he became Sandman. His son is Sandman. More.
Let's not talk about Daniel Hall, because I don't want to have an anger-induced aneurysm.
Okay. That being said, kids, we've been at this for about 2.5 hours, so and I'm sitting on a hard ass floor, so
yeah.
Well, quit bragging.
All right, so tomorrow Eric's going to be back, and we're going to hit the Marvel Silver Age. So join us for that. Thursday, we might be back to doing a live stream like this. And maybe we're going to break it up a little bit, because I think we should do more live streams like this anyway. But so please join us for those at 10 for that. The comic books at 10:30 tomorrow, 7 o'clock. Gonna try 7 o'clock. Kind of busy, but I'm gonna try to hit 7 o'clock so we can talk about Crisis on Infinite Earths. So please check that out, as well as go on over to From the Long Box for some comic book reviews. Anything you've got going on tomorrow, RDB?
Not much. Maybe an offline reading, but everything's gonna be on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
So 7 o'clock for 7 o'clock for Crisis. Dalton, are you going to join us for that? You think you can watch all three?
I might. And while we're chilling for things, Wednesday at 5:30 is always the stream I do with Mr. E 2099 called The Duality of Man. It's a men's rights and men's issue show, and of course, this week, we're talking about the shot heard around the world and its various repercussions, because what the hell else would we be talking about?
Exactly. There you go. All righty, kids. Well, once again, thank you very much for hanging out with us. Please go over to Ko-Fi, drop $1 in the till. Helps keep the lights on here. This is the way I'm trying to make a living and help the family out. Also, subscribe. Ring that notification bell. I'd like to thank everybody who's already done that, and to everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching. Have a good night.
Cheers, guys.
All righty. Fun time.